And good morning from wherever you are, and welcome to The World's Gone Insane. Let's talk about it. Joining me, and later on there'll be a few others, maybe, possibly. I know Zam is on his way. I've got Gaz and Shredder lives on. How we doing, guys?
All right.
Great, I don't care. Now, this is going to be an absolute pronoun-free stream. Myself and these two men are, we're not doing he, hims, she, eyes, and donkeys, and the cat is angry at me. She's clawing at my back. Yeah. But all right, so that's gonna be the first story of the day. I'm going straight into it because we have a lot to cover. The world was rocked this week when a streamer called Hills versus Babyface made the absolute statement that pronouns should not be in games, and he absolutely rightly and level-headedly spoke about it like a man during his stream. Of course, that did not fucking happen. Shredder, do you want to talk about fucking pronouns? Have a kip of time, mate. Oh my god.
We should have gone with my original idea, which was to have Gary open up the stream going, fucking gravy!
I did do that in chat before.
Oh my god. Yes, in the world of completely stable and level-headed men, we had a guy freak out on his stream whilst playing Starfield because the game gave you the option to choose your pronouns. And, he freaked out because fuck inclusivity. Of course, this has just become pretty standard fare now for these kind of grifters who are just so embedded in their hatred and entrenched in their poxy little ways that even a small modicum of inclusion of marginalized groups sends them off like this. I can't even get the words out how to describe how stupid this idiot come across. Shredder, you want to take this?
Oh, I mean, I would have loved to have seen how you would have acted maybe, 20 odd years ago when Pokemon asked you, are you a boy or a girl? I mean, he would have flipped his fucking lid off of that. I mean, there's got to be a degree of mental illness to the way he's reacting. I mean, he's hyped himself up for this new game that's coming out, Starfield. Now, full disclosure, I haven't played it because I really have no interest in anything that's made by Bethesda.
Nope, me neither.
But again, he's hyped himself up for this game, and then he decides to get outraged over the smallest little thing, basically just this option to include pronouns. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. The guy is unhinged. Although I'm not entirely surprised, given that the guy has previously done streams with Sargon of Akkad. You know, the guy who most people don't recognize that name if you tell them, if you mention Sargon of Akkad or Carl Benjamin. But if you bring up the fact that, remember, he's the guy who stood for UKIP after making all those rape jokes about Jess Phillips. Immediately everybody clicks who he is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gaz?
It was hilarious. That's what it was. It was just a man baby, a guy who looks like he's about my age, going on about how flaming bad pronouns. It's like, while using fucking pronouns, like, we want you to use it against us. That's what 4 pronouns you just used there, flaming. It's like, look, what's the issue? It's literally like an option in the character creator screen, and it ain't the biggest problem that Flaming Starfield has. I mean, I think a number of people have mentioned the fact that it's buggy, it's not really well QA tested very well. The dialogue looks like it was written by one of those AI things that's going around these days. It kind of looks like it hasn't been streamlined. It's been high performance for a lot of things, and these are things that people are bringing up about, like how it doesn't seem to be running very well on the newest hardware. It's like those are things that are legitimate that you could bring up about it. But no, he excuses to lose his shit about the fact that you can choose to be a he, him, and a they, them, and a she, her. He's like going, oh, it's current day shit. No, actually, I think in 20 years' time, 30 years' time, people won't care. Because I think it'll just be a natural part of what the people are. People can choose their pronouns and no one will care. I mean, the thing is, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, again, whatever pronoun you want to use, if that makes you feel comfortable, again, it might take me a little bit to, because again, myself, I've been around trans people, and sometimes it is difficult.
Okay, Gary, I'll cut you off just because we're treading on familiar grounds here. I don't want to go off on all this kind of stuff, but on your point with Starfield is, I mean, literally Todd Howard was like when pressed about them asking, hey man, how comes this game runs so badly on PC? And it's just like, well, bro, just upgrade your hardware and it works fine. And it's just like that kind of flippant attitude that Todd has when he just churns out mediocre shit. And this is like, I told people about Starfield. I was like, don't get fucking hyped, man. Bethesda's Bethesda. You know what? You're going to get some mediocre shit, and you wait for the microtransactions because they're kind of kicking at any moment when the updates come. But no. That's not the most important thing to focus on in the game. No. It's the pronouns.
Oh, did you see his follow-up video?
Yes.
The one where he defended what he said.
Where you said that man on the internet has opinion gets cancelled for it.
Yeah, people
a fucking moron he is.
He wasn't cancelled for it. People just making fun of it for it.
Exactly. I mean, he's from Birmingham, so what do you fucking expect?
No, but I mean, he's one of these people. He's one of these idiots who uses terms like gender ideology, flaming unironically. That's the problem.
He's just a right-wing reactionary idiot. That's the problem. Like with right wingers, the minute there's a small pushback, they start playing the victim and pretend like the whole world is after them. And again, so we're like, no, we just laughed at you because you're a moron and you overreacted because there's a trans character in a game and you get to choose pronouns. Because again, he freaked out when he go on, Shredder.
Here's the big question. Did he freak out because he's a moron, or was it part of the grift? Because he associates with people like The Quartering, like Nerdrotic, people who openly grift on this idea that trans people existing, is something to be outraged by.
I would say it's probably a little bit of both, to be honest. Bit of a grift, bit of a overreaction, because these people can get triggered over the smallest thing.
No, but there's no way that isn't genuine, because like nobody acts like that. I mean, it isn't genuine somewhere. Like I think he genuinely doesn't get the idea that it's just a part of normal people just being normal. And because he was like going, "Oh, it's Californian shit." It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's California. Yeah, okay.
Well, it depends. I mean, if he's just appealing to his base, I mean, he could be very easily espousing shit he just doesn't believe in.
Well, which is pretty much 90% of their stuff, because don't forget, there's also the other video of him telling people, hey, cope when it came to Harry Potter. And then he kind of complains.
Oh, no. That's not the one I've seen.
Oh, where's it gone?
Is it gone again? Sorry.
Oh, hopefully it comes...
but the one I saw is he did a playthrough of Fallout, one of the Fallout games. I can't remember which one. It might have been Spray, where one of the characters is going on about. He goes, "I've got something to tell you," and then she just pauses long enough, and he goes, "You're a man," and he goes, "I'm a clone that was part of the UC and stuff like that." And he goes. It was the person I remember was Doctor, and it was a male name. And he literally like puts his hand in his eyes because he just realised she is trans. You fucking idiot! You know what I mean? Like, so he didn't get it. So like,
I haven't seen that one. I just saw the one where he's just like telling people to cope and get over Hogwarts Legacy. Fucking, I've lost bloody Gary now. What's going on with the stream? Everyone's dropping like flies, and so it's like you're telling us to cope, but then you're freaking out over pronouns, and it just shows you just don't have any principles. You're just a fucking brain dead reactionary idiot who just wants to cry over something. And, you know, they always say, like, adults are, you know, you're supposed to respect your adults, your elders, and all this kind of stuff. And I just look at people my age and just how many of them are complete fuckwits. And I look at the young who, quite a big chunk of them have got their heads better screwed on than most generations in terms of being, you know, aware of what the fuck is going on in the world in terms of politics, in terms of, you know, sexuality and all this kind of stuff. And I just think, whatever you do, kids, don't listen to the elders. We're just fuckwits. You know, just do your thing and, you know, ignore your bloody Andrew Tates and your incel cunts and all this. Just figure the world out for yourself and find your avenues and your streams that work for you without listening to us for the most part. And because, like, you get idiots like, you know, all these right-wing grifters that just chat waffle shit. I mean, Jimmy Dore is another prime example. He had Cornel West on his show a couple of days ago, and he's trying to attack him on issues that Cornel West is perfectly versed in. And it's just like, he's crying that, you know, if you use the argument of white supremacy or in a debate and all this kind of stuff, you're just partaking in identity politics. And it's like, so you're basically trying to say that you shouldn't talk about white supremacy, something that's a genuine threat to the country. And I wonder why that is. Oh, is it because your entire following, your entire base are all fucking far right idiots? You know what I mean? And so it takes these fucking people. Just Zam, you need to change your name, dude. Welcome to the stream.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You like the shirt, by the way?
Eh? Oh, love the shirt. Yes, love it. Perfectly fitting. Yes. So we were just talking about pronouns, Guy. If you want to add anything to the conversation before we move on.
Well, it is almost becoming yesterday's news because it happened pretty much the day after our last podcast.
Yeah.
But I think the only person who's going to benefit from it is Hill versus Babyface. Unfortunately, I think he's going to gather a lot more. There's going to be a lot more people who will know who he is. This will be yesterday's news, and he's going to have a good maybe 25,000 more fucking subscribers from it. You know.
Yeah.
But I do find it ironic that he made a post video to his meltdown saying that the internet had a meltdown and that he was being cancelled. And this is something that happens a lot on the right. They can't, every time they get called out, they always say they're fucking cancelled. And it's not, people are calling you out. And I can't stand that. They need to stop saying that because it's not true. He's not cancelled. He's still, you know, making stupidness. He's still fucking having meltdowns. He's still fucking, you know, being a bigot. He's not being, he's not fucking being cancelled whatsoever. Just being called out.
Exactly. And I got major incel vibes from the guy when he was doing his video. I mean, this is somebody who really needs to touch grass. But the fact is, look, unfortunately, a lot of content creators in this space, and talking about nerd culture, a lot of them unfortunately get an audience from appealing to right-wing reactionaries and incels. So that's why you've got such wide appeal for guys like The Quartering or Nerdrotic or Geeks and Gamers. It's unfortunately something we have to deal with, and this was another example of just like how fucking poisonous some people in the space of like nerd culture and video games can really be. Yeah,
and they kind of just they don't seem to understand the whole fucking point of nerd culture. God damn it, people keep dropping as issues with the stream. But nerd culture is we were the outsiders. We were the ones that were being teased and bullied for our preferences and all this kind of stuff. And now, again, the oppressed become the oppressors and all this kind of shit. It's like people don't learn. It's just like you should know what certain groups go through, but they don't. They just have their confirmation biases and they just fucking want to stick with their little tribes and just feel this sense of belonging because they're socially inept and they just feel so fucking lost in the world. And the easiest way to appeal to somebody is just to use bite-sized talking points that are very easy to follow, and that's how these people just latch onto it, and their mind just becomes completely fucking poisoned. And it's very difficult for them to kind of see past a certain point. Yeah, so anyway, so that's Hills versus Babyface. We could move on. Shredder, you want to talk about Queen Elizabeth?
Oh yes, it's the 1 year anniversary since the passing of Queen Elizabeth, and I thought it'd be interesting to review what actually happened.
Are you doing your makeup there, Paddy?
I'm just upset.
Yeah, Paddy's upset he didn't get to shag her before she died.
That's it.
Oh God!
Give it kid number 5, baby.
I've made it my mission in life. If hell exists, I intend to go down there and find her, Margaret Thatcher, and Jimmy Savile like I'm the fucking Doom Marine. But yeah,
Nice.
I thought it might be worth talking about like what actually went on last year. This time last year, the fucking 2 weeks that we spent in this country effectively being like North Korea.
Yeah, go for it, mate. Floor's yours.
Okay, so I don't know how many of you remember what actually went on in that 12 months. Well, sorry, in that 2 weeks. After
In that 2 weeks. Oh, yeah.
death. So I mean, let's see. Our national broadcaster had a camera pointed at the coffin on a 24/7 feed, and they just pretended that Republicans and dissenting voices of any kind just didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had people lining up to walk past her body. And the biggest scandal in the fucking country for a while was that 2 daytime TV presenters happened to skip the line.
Yeah. And
I
Mr.
did have an issue with that though, Shredder, because it kind of shows you the lack of equality. Because why should they be able to? I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought it was all fucking stupid anyway. But why are they allowed to skip the fucking line? I mean, at least David Beckham was smart enough to queue up.
Look, I'm not justifying what they did, but I mean, they became public enemy number 1. You would think they'd raped a bunch of kids, back in the 70s, working at the BBC.
Well, I mean, Philip Schofield's not far off. Let's be honest.
Oh well, allegedly.
Allegedly, like brother. But yeah, I mean, it was like the 2 weeks leading up to the burying the twat was just insane. Like, you had people getting arrested for just even silently protesting, holding up signs, and and then later you have like the whole police just like, oh yeah, sorry. It's like, yeah, a bit fucking late for that now, mate.
Oh yeah, and there were people arrested, before they even got the chance to protest.
Oh, that's true. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, there were people who had arranged to turn up for a protest, and they got arrested before they could even do anything.
Yeah, and they the mass hysteria that kind of gripped the nation, and just completely forgotten about the fact that she spent 12 million of our money protecting that nonce of a son of hers, alleged. And it just the level of this country, it does my fucking head in. Like, we want to progress, and then you can't because so many people just find the fucking royal family still very popular in this country, and it's just you see it when we had the Queen's death and the King's inauguration and all this. Huh?
I mean, they weren't that bloody popular. I mean, a lot of the population did not watch the coronation, for example.
No, but there's still a large contingent of people. What I mean is, like, they should be way more unpopular than what they are. Granted, their popularity is dipping, and by the time the next generation comes to like our age and all of that, but there will never be talks of just becoming a republic. I would think we're way too far from that.
Anyway. I mean, Jamaica is having that conversation at least.
Yeah, I mean, Barbados has done it. They got rid of
Jamaica did it after the visit from what was it? Was it William and Kate Middleton? That went down like a spot on the left.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the policing in that 2 weeks was so fucking schizophrenic and heavy-handed, it was beyond belief. So people like the response to people holding up signs just reading "Not My King," it was so fucking heavy-handed. You would have thought there was a women's vigil at Hyde Park.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there was actually an incident. It was in Edinburgh when the coffin was coming through the streets, and Prince Andrew was there. Somebody shouted at it, "You're a sick old man." Now,
Yeah.
that person who shouted it got beaten up, thrown to the ground by a couple of pro-monarchists, right in front of the police, but the police don't step in and arrest them. They take away the Republican who said you're a sick old man, and they charge him with public order offences. It only turns out, I think it was like another couple of weeks later, that they eventually charge the two that actually committed the assault.
Yeah, due to public pressure.
Because it was public pressure, because it had been videoed.
Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't have bothered, and it just tells you everything you need to know. You see all the time, between like when you have like anti-establishment protesters versus pro-establishment protesters, how the police always handle those kind of situations, and they deliberately inflame and provoke one side, whereas the other side they just kind of passe with them. And it was none truer than during the Queen's the whole funeral procession. And
I mean, the fact that it took 11 days from her death until the funeral.
Yeah,
I mean, it was ridiculous. It
was non-stop, 24-hour talking and coverage.
Oh, you couldn't get away from it. No. And on top of that, they decided to like set. Well, not just again. It wasn't just a case of dissenting voices weren't allowed. They decided to make sure that there was going to be no dissenting voices. So things that working class people would have enjoyed, like football, was cancelled.
Yeah.
That's
right. Because they know the chance would have been.
Yeah, because they said we don't want people booing the minute silence for the Queen, which they knew certain clubs obviously were going to do. So Liverpool was probably one of them.
Well, actually, when they actually further cancelled Liverpool-Chelsea game, they really wanted the dust to settle, because you've got probably the most left-wing fans versus the most right-wing fans. When it came to that particular game, you got a team in Liverpool that pretty much has a disdain for the United Kingdom and England in particular. And then you've got the hardcore right-wing fans of Chelsea, who are very, very conservative and very pro-monarchy and all of that shit. Yeah, they made sure that game didn't happen. And it actually just coincidentally was timed during the Queen's passing as well. So.
Yeah, well, I mean
that's true. But again, just what was it? Shortly afterwards. I'm trying to think when but
the rugby and the cricket was allowed to continue, by the way, which just shows you another class, the kind of classism. That
football wasn't,
and the football wasn't.
But it was like I think like 9 or 10 days after the Queen's death, there was football was allowed to come back on. One of the big controversies was the fact that Celtic fans unrolled a banner that said "fuck the Crown."
Yeah. You can always rely on them to post some beautiful things.
Oh, yeah. But what was brilliant was the fact that certain people who have been fucking atrocious on the public stage decided they were going to act as the moral arbiters for the nation. So you had Jeremy Kyle, Piers Morgan, Nigel Farage, James Whale.
Oh, God.
These were all fucking people who were saying, this is an absolute disgrace, and Celtic fans should be ashamed, or they should be sanctioned, the club should be sanctioned or whatever. Jeremy Kyle is a guy who bullied people on TV for a living until a guest committed suicide.
Yep.
Nigel Farage, we could spend all day going off on all the racist and horrific lies he's told to this nation.
He's a grifter.
Oh, yeah, he's a grifter. Piers Morgan, he was at the center of the tabloid phone hacking scandal. And James Whale, he was one of those people that said, they should have been, they should have kept quiet and shown respect. Well, maybe he should have done that too when he decided to laugh at a rape victim on radio.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. I remember James Whale back in the day. I thought he was dead by now.
No, unfortunately, he is still around on the radio.
Woof.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's always hilarious when you get these kind of dickheads that come in and just try to be like take the moral high ground with everything, considering their fucking track record on politics and life and all this kind of shit. It's just laughable. But they're the ones that are going to get all the airtime, whereas people who have the dissenting opinion, and with reason, I don't even think they were allowed on TV at the time. I think Ash Sarkar from Navarra Media was on one of the shows at the time, and she just said, "Look, I'm a Republican. I'm not pro blah blah blah," and they fucking basically thought that she murdered babies, or with her attitude. It's just the hysteria just cracks me up, and most of it's just most of it's faux, because a lot of these people just fucking would always want to be top dog above anyone else and don't actually give a shit, but they want to pretend like, I'm outraged on behalf of the establishment.
Well, that's the thing. Those four I mentioned. They're the first people, who will always appear on the media and talk about wokies and snowflakes,
Yeah.
and as soon as there's any pushback to any fucking horrific statement they have made, they'll scream about how they've been cancelled. Again, Jeremy Kyle did that when that program, Death on Daytime, came out.
Yeah.
He was talking about how he had been cancelled because obviously his show got pulled from the air, but he's still on talk radio. But
yeah.
These are the same people that will cry more free speech, and then they tell everybody else on an event like this, or say for example, go back another 10 years when Margaret Thatcher died. Oh, you've got to shut up and be respectful. Well, hang on. Why is it I've got to shut up, but you are always saying more free speech?
Yeah, it's free speech for me, not for thee, Gaz.
I'm probably going to come for this for a different perspective than you three. I thought it again. I was I understood why maybe a few days was done, because again, it felt like a historic event, and very few times in life do you live through an historic event. That's something that people will think about. Now, the thing is, I didn't like the fact that people were getting arrested and shit like that, because we should be able to have a mature conversation about republicanism in this country without it degenerating what it degenerates into. Well, you're stupid for being monarchist. You're stupid for being Republican. Let's argue with each other like morons rather than let's be adults about this whole thing. And that's the reason why it gets fucking nowhere. And that's what pisses me off. It's like surely there's a mature conversation we should be having about this that doesn't degenerate into that. And I thought that the dust that typified that more than people getting, just as you guys were just saying, with people getting beaten up and getting arrested for just having banners. It's like, look, I'm very pro-monarchy. I ain't going to be saying that people who are anti-monarchy should be getting arrested. Because the other day, what's that producing for the conversation? Nothing. It's actually degenerating the conversation into being really stupid. Sorry.
Yeah, Zam, anything you want
to add? Regarding the monarchy, I mean, I think sometimes Bossman people want to both sides things, but both sides, in my opinion, is an argument you can make for something if it's even, and I don't feel it is. When you hear about people protesting and then they're being arrested for it, and when you see a nonce like Prince Andrew being allowed to come out of the woodwork again, to attend his mother's funeral and he'll never face any justice. When you see when people go on about welfare queens and people living off benefits, there's no more bigger people than the Windsor family. There's no both sides to this, man. There's people starving and having to live off food banks, and our tax money is going to these fucking inbreds. I think, Bossman, that you very much love the pageantry and watching it, with mum and dad and seeing the Queen wave her fucking hand and shit like that and stand on the balcony and, and maybe grab her kid like fucking Michael Jackson and help her over and shit. I think you very much romanced by all that bollocks, and you need to see the wood through the trees, mate, because these guys are a relic of history and they need to be ousted. Things like Windsor Castle, things like Buckingham Palace, these locations, they're historic and they should remain there, like all historical monuments and buildings and so on. But the occupants, they need to get the fuck out of there and get a job like everyone else and pay their goddamn taxes. That's what they need to fucking do.
Yeah. What is with this stream today?
I have no idea.
Everyone's getting kicked, so I'll be off in a minute as well.
Well, what I was going to say, actually, I was going to bring up 2 points. One, with regard to Andrew Windsor is the fact that he was allowed to completely rehab his image during that whole 2-week period. I mean, the news cameras couldn't get enough. They were always wanting to talk to him about his mother. They never wanted to talk about the whole issue with Virginia Giuffre.
Yeah,
and lo and behold, she helped pay the £12 million settlement to basically get the legal action dropped. And now after he's inherited all this money, which by the way, she was worth £300 million. Charles inherited 200 million, and we still paid for the funeral. I really don't get that. But
well, he gets a pay rise as well now as well.
Yeah, but Andrew Windsor decided to use part of the money that he inherited from his mother to contest the settlement. He's fighting that in court.
Yeah. Okay.
And you mentioned food banks, Sam. How fucking ridiculous was it that the day of the funeral, everything shut in this country, and I mean everything. So we had.
Yeah, I know.
We had absolutely, So I mean, this is how bad it was. COVID vaccinations and boosters were cancelled.
Yeah.
Surgeries were cancelled. Cancer treatment was cancelled. Food banks were expected to shut too.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
There was one in I think it was like the Dundee area where they actually stayed open. They stayed open the day of the Queen's funeral. A news camera showed up, and the response was pretty much confrontational. The reporter who was there was acting like isn't this disrespectful? You're opening. Shouldn't you be at home watching the Queen's funeral? Now, credit to the people who were involved at the food bank and the people who were going there who actually spoke to them, because they said, well, no, because at the end of the day, people are still hungry. People still need fed.
Yeah. But that's the disconnect, the class disconnect that we have in this country. They don't understand it. They're like, why aren't you bowing to authority? Why aren't you, you're a subject, you're scum. You should be at home crying that your dear beloved leader has died. They don't understand the kind of shit that people are going through. They don't.
I have never understood the pandering and deference to the monarchy. I mean, this is like how ridiculous it was, like even from our state broadcast of the BBC. Do you guys remember a show called The Great British Menu?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the very first couple of seasons, do you remember what you used to have, how the courses that were going to be served at royal banquets or ambassadors' dinners were decided?
No,
I can't
premium
remember.
Rate phone line.
Oh, yeah.
A what?
A premium rate phone line.
Yeah, so it's basically full vote.
The very first season of that, it was a birthday meal for the Queen. For anyone who's not familiar with it, the concept of this show, basically they took a bunch of very famous TV chefs who just weren't good enough to have their own show, and they would get them to cook meals from their region of the UK. And what would happen is the judges would narrow it down, and you would be expected at home to vote on what these people were going to eat at this banquet. Now, I thought that was fucking ridiculous. A premium rate phone line to decide what the Queen's going to have for a birthday meal.
Well, that's how they got to pay for the food.
The only way I would participate in that is if the option was, well, fuck you all, it's McDonald's Pound Saver menu.
Or a glass of cyanide. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it's just...
No, I remember that day because I was working that day, and I got hungry. I thought, okay, I'm going to go to McDonald's. McDonald's was closed. I couldn't believe it. Is it Christmas Day? Even on Christmas Day, I've known it to be open. And then, well, then you get all the fucking, all the non-Christian, non-give a shit about Christmas people working that day, and they're happy to get quadruple pay. I go to fucking Asda. Maybe I can get myself a sandwich. Asda's closed. Morrison's closed. Everything's fucking closed, and it's not Christmas fucking Day. I couldn't fucking believe it. And then it dawned on me, like, they want people to be at home watching the funeral and remain indoctrinated. You know what I mean? That's what they want. They want the indoctrination process to continue, and this is how they fucking do it. Have a day off, my peasants, and watch the Queen get buried and fucking worship this fucking
I watched it, but because it felt, as I said, it felt like a historic event. But look, I mean, the thing is, there should be alternatives for people who don't want to watch it.
There was
No,
YouTube and Netflix.
No, but the point is, like, we got. I watched it. I admit I watched it because, in a way, we were drawn in to watch it. Like, I couldn't work that fucking day. Like they closed the M4, and the A4, like the A4, which goes up to the M4 from fucking central London. That entire section of road was
Windsor.
closed.
Yeah,
all the way to Windsor. Yeah, so you know what I mean. So they could. So like this is what annoys me. Like like we the people are being fucking held back and not allowed to do certain things for them. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. My sister-in-law, my sister-in-law wanted to watch the funeral and all this, and I just kept baiting my nephews to keep asking to watch, their cartoons and all this kind of shit. And I was really winding one of them up, so they'd like nag, and so we had to keep interrupting the funeral. I was pissing myself laughing because I was like, these kids, they're doing my bidding. I'm sowing the seeds for future Republicans. Because I didn't want to watch it. I was helping look after the kids, and they're all steeped. No, it's traditional. So I was like, fuck off. And so I was making sure the nephews were watching Paw Patrol or whatever.
I didn't watch the funeral either. I actually went out of my way to watch Aliens that day.
No, good choice.
I figured I would
different kind of Queen, but
I figured I would have more sympathy for the Queen getting blasted out the airlock than I would, for Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. I mean, I cried when the Queen got blasted out the airlock.
Absolutely, it was such a heartrending scene, wasn't it?
Devastated. All she was trying to do was protect the eggs, and they burnt them all, and then she gets killed in the end. White supremacist garbage.
Right. My workplace was shut that day as well, or at least for half the day. I got yelled at by my boss in the run up to it because. For two reasons. He yelled at me for insubordination. One, because I was vocalizing the fact that I thought we should have stayed open to give people an alternative, something to do other than the funeral. And two, during one of the minutes silence, I refused to participate, so I went to the gents and took a shit.
Nice.
So I credit you for taking a shit in the public. I credit you for taking a shit in the public toilet because that's the one thing I despise doing. Is taking a shit in the public fucking toilet.
It was at my work, so
you wouldn't survive 1 minute out in the wild, Zam. Jesus Christ,
but
you should have been a builder.
I need to wash my ass after I'm done. I need to. It just feels wrong not doing so.
At the same time, though, there is a precedent for how people have reacted when anybody has tried to stay open and do something on the occasion of likes of a royal funeral. Christopher Hitchens, for example, the late Christopher Hitchens did a documentary a year after the death and funeral of Princess Diana. And one of the people, there were a couple groups he spoke to. One was a Highland Games that's near where the fuck's a residence in Scotland again?
Holyrood.
Balmoral, yeah. So there's a Highland Games up near Balmoral. They were going to go ahead with it, and they got the organizer's wife got some quite horrendous phone calls and death threats.
Oh my God!
They cancelled that, and some charities lost out because that's what a lot of the proceeds from Highland Games actually go to.
Oh, really?
There was another. There was a supermarket as well. It was a Summerfield supermarket. They wanted to stay open that day. Their plan was that they were going to stay open the day of the funeral, and all the profit they made that day was going to go to one of the charities that Diana supported.
Yeah.
Again, they got called up with bomb threats and threats to the safety of the staff that were working there.
We're just not a sane country at all. And this is in Scotland. Now, how many fucking royalists do you have up there? What, they're all Rangers supporters?
Maybe. I mean, they had a pro-monarchy display again during that whole period. I love I still to this day love the way Celtic got around the whole forced minute applause, which was to try and make sure that there was no booing. So it was going to be like a minute applause around the.
Oh God damn it! What is going on today? They're after us. They're coming to get us. Oh, let's wait. He'll jump back in. I don't know why this doing this today. Just give him a second. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on that I keep dropping out the stream. But anyway, as I was saying, the way the Celtic fans got around the forced minutes applause, they all started clapping and they go, "If you hate the royal family, clap your hands." It was absolutely fucking marvelous to watch.
Oh, they're fucking brilliant. I mean, all right. I'm a Rangers fan, not a Celtic fan, but that's because of family association more than anything. But I love the Celtic fans. They're just fucking class. I don't like the Rangers fans, but I'll support the team. Right.
Yeah,
okay.
I was just really glad that there was nothing today really nationally to commemorate the event. So thank fucking God for that. We had 2 weeks of being like North Korea. We didn't need anything else.
Yeah,
there's been certain papers that done about it, like the Telegraph, the Guardian, certain right-wing ones, but that's been it, really.
Yeah, that's enough because nobody reads them anyway, so it's enough to keep them just at the papers. BBC might do something, but honestly, who the fuck watches BBC anymore? They can't even fucking. They ain't even got the money anymore. They've been gutted by the bloody Tories. So yeah, kissing moral ass is all they've got, and fucking appeasing them. Anyway, okay. So moving on from one set of rich cunts to another rich cunt. Bill Maher made the news today. I don't know if you guys saw this.
Nope.
No, what happened?
So Bill Maher basically just further showing how far he has just drifted into the world of being a complete bourgeois arsehole. He's complaining about the strikes. He was saying that the writers.
I know about
that. I thought you were going to talk about the homeless people.
What homeless people?
Oh, the fact Bill Maher did an interview and it was mentioned like all these people who were living on Skid Row, and he said, "Well, I haven't seen any of them." It's like, yeah, just because you haven't fucking seen any homeless people doesn't mean they don't exist, you prick.
Well, I mean that's very just telling of just
he's
what
become a broken clock now. Unfortunately,
yeah, he's become just a broken clock. The problem with the egos is that your ego will go to the only group of people that are left stroking it. And Bill Maher was just complaining about the strikes, saying that as much as I love my writers and all this, they're not. This is going on too long, and they're not really entitled to. They're not entitled to a living and all this kind of stupid shit, and saying that their demands were just woo-woo and crazy and all this, and it's just like, what their demands are nothing compared to what. And Jim Gaffigan, who was the guest, made the point of, well, hang on, David Zaslav has made $500 million in the last couple of years, and the writers' strike and all this, their demands will only cost like $80 million. Across the board, not just with Warner Brothers, for example. And, in no point in time does Bill Maher ever say that the CEOs are the problem. He blames the workers. And then stories start coming out about how nobody fucking he has such a high turnover of writers because nobody likes working with him. And the writers that work for Bill Maher are paid really well because he's difficult to work with. And this just shows you how further and further irrelevant he has become. And it's just basically just gone full-blown right-wing. It's as simple as that. No matter what he says, he's not for Medicare for all. He's not for universal healthcare. He's not for any of that. He's not pro-union.
He's only anti-Trump.
He's just anti-Trump. That's it.
He's anti-science. He's anti-Trump and he's pro-weed. That's basically enough as far as he's concerned.
Yeah.
Oh, right. He's anti-religion.
Yeah, that's his his big ticket, was that he was anti-religion and he made famous for kind of talking about 9/11. Not 9/11, the invasion of Iraq and things like that. And he just kind of rode that ticket to the point where, Trump basically broke his brain. That people like him could not understand why he got in, and they were looking for everyone to blame but the people in power. And since then, he's just gone full blown fucking nuts, just arsehole, complete arsehole. Gaz.
Yeah, well, he's one of these people who's actually liberal rather than his left, because the thing is, he has. And people have said this. I've said this. It's like if you look at his old show before he did his old show. I think he did one before that. I can't remember what it was called. Where
Not real time.
Yeah. Was it real time?
Politically incorrect.
Yeah, that's the one. Right. You look at the views he had. He wasn't left wing then either.
Yeah.
He don't even kind of left wing idea. I mean, the thing is, the idea of anti-religion being left wing. No, it's not. It's
Yeah, Bill Maher. Even though he. Like, but the funny thing is, it's like he donated to the Bernie Sanders campaign.
Yeah, don't make it left wing.
Did he?
He
He donated to Obama. He donated
to Obama,
gave
but
$1 million to Obama in 2016.
he was also a Bernie supporter. I remember that.
Yeah,
up until the point he got screwed, and then when
2012.
2016.
No, it would have been 2012 because 2016 was when Trump was elected.
Yeah, Trump was elected. Yeah.
Yes,
so
and that was
it was a 2012 campaign that he gave $1 million to Obama
to the Obama thing. Yes,
when he was running up against Mitt Romney.
Yes, but in 2015, you know, he was very pro Bernie Sanders, and then obviously Bernie Sanders got screwed. I mean, the whole thing was exposed by Jordan Chariton, and then because then with Hillary, obviously he sided with Hillary because blah blah blah, and then he just couldn't comprehend when people voted for Trump.
Yeah, but if you look at
I used to watch Mark every week over a decade. Up until 4 years ago, he has become one of those back in my day people with his views. Yeah,
me too.
Yeah,
but I used to like him a lot. Not anymore.
Yeah,
but the thing is, he wasn't left when he originally started. Though. That's my point. Is like he supported.
No, he's not left wing. I'm not saying just because he supported Bernie doesn't mean. I'm not trying to say that he's ever been left wing. What I mean is that he supported Bernie up until a point, and then until Bernie got screwed, and then he just switched to Hillary. But you think if he had a brain, he'd understand what happened to Bernie and be a bit more fucking outraged. But he just didn't understand what had happened, and so he just went, "Okay, Hillary."
Sorry, if you don't mind me interrupting. That when on one of his shows or one of his podcasts, his fawning for Elon Musk, really made me want to puke in my own mouth. Tell me you guys saw that.
I did see that.
He made Elon,
I saw the clip. Real time.
He was showing him to high fucking heaven, making him come across like he's saving the fucking world and shit like that. And that alone made me. I mean, like the guy, somebody who hates Trump so much, and then there's somebody like Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Who I'm not saying Elon Musk is Trump, but there's similarities and as well as differences. And like we're dealing with another egomaniac billionaire who lies all the fucking time. How the hell can you fucking like Elon Musk, Bill Maher, if you just like Donald Trump for those things?
Well, it's easy. I mean, he falls for snake oil salesman all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
he does.
The three guests I think of probably the most infamous. One is Sam Harris. Mm-hmm. Sam Harris would always come on and give his racist thought experiments about how we need to racially profile every fucking Arab and Muslim in an airport.
Yeah. So
he would always be on for that. They had Samuel T'Challa. He was the guy who claimed that he cured Charlie Sheen's HIV. He said that he did it with what was it? The milk of arthritic goats.
Jesus Christ!
And
Charlie Sheen's HIV being cured by any chance?
No.
Okay.
So no, but Samuel T'Challa was like a snake oil salesman who was claiming that he had cured HIV, and he's claiming
that's why he likes him.
He's claimed that he's cured HIV in other parts of the world too. And Bill Maher brought this guy on to interview him, and slam Dr. Oz, like, you know, I have no time or patience at all for Dr. Oz, but one of the actually decent things he did was he got Charlie Sheen back on his HIV medication.
Yeah.
But the third one that again sticks out for me, again, is probably his most infamous, would be Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
when,
you had him on,
when Milo Yiannopoulos went on, again, there was a lot of the you know, they were basically spreading transphobia throughout that entire fucking episode. Mar,
He softballed him to fuck, man.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, he's softball. He's just, you know, he's just become such a fucking stooge.
Yeah, but
you can't, guys.
I was gonna say he's also become a massive like anti-vaxxer recently. Like
he's always been an anti-vaxxer.
Oh yeah, no, he's always been a massive anti-vaxxer.
Oh yeah, as far back as I can remember.
Sorry, if I could just finish my point about Yiannopoulos. When Yiannopoulos was on, again, Chris, I think it was like a day or two later that the whole thing came out about Yiannopoulos basically advocating for paedophilia.
Yeah.
It was only a couple of days after that. Marr tried to take credit for his downfall, but yet on Real Time, he had said he'd literally called Milo Yiannopoulos a young, gay, alive Christopher Hitchens.
Christopher Hitchens. The guy is hardcore religious, man. Or he likes to portray himself to be.
Yeah. It's more like Peter Hitchens than Christopher Hitchens. Elon is trying to censor the truth. Outrageous. How could you say that? You're cancelled, Vance. You're cancelled.
I'm going to get onto Elon properly in a minute, by the way. But
well, we can switch to it now. You know, it's pretty.
But he's always been a massive anti-vaxxer. He's believed in a lot of nonsense as well. I think the James Randi Foundation gave him a Pegasus Award for it too.
Oh, did they? Jesus Christ!
No, I didn't. I thought he was at least a bit smarter than that.
No, he's a complete nutter. He is just a. That's what the minute I kind of found out he was an anti-vaxxer, I was just like, I was done.
Probably because Trump was pro-vaccine.
And then he starts. And then when the 2020 elections are coming along, obviously this is before Biden gets picked, and all of that, and he goes from being Bernie the previous election to Amy Klobuchar in the next election, then actively arguing against Bernie Sanders. It's just like, how fucking far, like, just the brain of these liberals. Just, this is what I mean. They're just they're just in the way of progress. They're in the way because if you split it left and right, okay, the left will take it. But these fucking liberal cunts are in the middle, just with their idiocies. And Bill Maher is just like the fucking poster person for this kind of garbage. Okay, moving on. Do you want to talk about Elon Musk, Sam?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has made the news, and he's trying not to make the news, but I'm glad the news is making sure that he remains in news, because now he controls a big chunk of social media. He is trying to put a shadow over himself regarding this particular issue. You see, Elon Musk likes to go on and say that he's an advocate for free speech, even though he hasn't been. He's blocked people's accounts. He has fallen for people's demands, other countries' demands to restrict speech when it comes to being on Twitter as well. But one of the most notable things recently is that there's one person in Saudi Arabia will be executed or has been executed for his tweets. And Elon Musk has been very quiet about this, hasn't said a damn thing about this. A man who's an advocate for free speech. Well, here is somebody whose free speech is getting him killed, and nothing from Elon Musk himself. You'd have thought the richest man in the world who believes in this particular thing would say something, considering somebody's been killed for it. But no, not a damn fucking thing is coming out of his mouth. Not tweeting, nothing. And people know why, because he's in bed with the Saudis.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons.
The Saudis were part of it. Didn't they finance his takeover of Twitter?
Yes. I mean, they already had a stake in Twitter before he took it over.
Yeah, they helped.
Anyway.
They helped finance it. I thought you were going to bring up the fact that he's also now threatening to sue the Anti-Defamation League.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah, why is he suing
That
them
as well.
again? I don't really give a shit about the Anti-Defamation League. But
Basically, he's claiming that Jews are responsible for the downfall of Twitter.
that
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
hell.
he tried to cover himself on that particular one.
Wait, and the
Because,
but why is he suing the ADL though?
The ADL highlighted the rise of anti-Semitism on Twitter ever since
Oh, I
he took
see.
over, and the fact that he reinstated a number of accounts that have been posting non-stop anti-Semitism.
Like
He's
sorry.
claiming that they basically cost Twitter advertisers.
Yeah, and also the fact that he's basically let full-blown neo-Nazis on there. So apparently the ADL have basically been highlighting that to a lot of people, and he went, right, I'm going to sue you. It's something that will be the stupidest lawsuit ever made if it goes through.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna. It's just, it's a slap thing. It's a slap thing. You know, it's one of those. You know, try hit people with slap lawsuits to kind of silence them and all this kind of shit. It'll get thrown out because the Anti-Defamation League, you know, they have fucking ties to the Israeli government as well, so they're not to be fucked with, and you know, they'll happily take on the fight with Elon Musk. They're not just some kind of goody two shoes charity, because they silence a lot of you know, anti-Israeli government stuff as well. They kind of weaponize anti-Semitism as much of all the other fucking Zionists do. So it's not a fight that's going to be very pleasant for Elon. But then Elon doesn't really use his brain when it comes to suing. I mean, he tried to sue Twitter, and then he's trying to sue like the lawyers that were involved in the takeover of Twitter and all this kind of shit. And it's just, you know, it's your typical reaction from a narcissistic sociopath. When you're put in your place or you don't like what's being said, you're going to sue them, or you're going to, you know, call somebody a nonce like he did that rescue guy in Thailand and all this kind of
Are you
shit.
saying Daddy Elon is not a genius and you don't want to get one of his brain chips?
Well, I mean, I hate to break it to you, Shredder, but yes, he's a fuckwit. I know. Let's see. Litigation takes time and on money. Elon has a show. So do the ADL have an entire government backing them, so they'll be fine. They can take this fight. It's not going to happen. Like Elon's lawsuits, just that, you know, they fizzle out and disappear because he knows he hasn't got a fucking leg to stand on. So it's just bollocks. And so keeping on the thing with Elon Musk, like literally just an hour or a couple of hours ago or yesterday, I can't fucking remember because my brain doesn't work like it used to. There's a whole thing where he turned off his Starlink satellite.
Yeah, he admitted this, so because he was worried that Ukraine might go on an offensive.
Yeah. Go on the offensive to sink the ships that are bombarding fucking Ukraine, and it's just like, how one man having that kind of power on something like satellites and being able to do this, that's not what people are talking about. Instead, they're berating Elon because he just, you know, didn't allow a bunch of Russian warships to get attacked. But the real question here is why they should be looking into, you know, kind of saying, all right, well, one man can't have that kind of power to just turn off bloody satellites willy-nilly. That's just crazy. But
well, not only that, I mean, I'm surprised the U.S. government has not stepped in and cancelled contracts they've got with him because he's basically a Kremlin asset.
Let's see what happens. I mean, this has all just come out now, so you know, it really is like a watch this space. We'll probably be talking about it next week. Or, you know, governments are so bought and paid for that they'll just be like, oh, whatever. You know,
let's see. Elon's definitely got ins with the flaming US government.
It's the plot of every Bond film. Elon's in bed with every government, mate. You know, wherever he's gonna make money, he'll just fucking go. He doesn't give a shit. And yeah, you're right. He is just like, again, with Russia, big fucking time. You know, how'd you turn off your satellites for that kind of thing? If you're not, and you can give any excuse you want, or I didn't want things to escalate and all that. They're at fucking war. How much more escalated do you want things to get? Jesus Christ. But I'm interested. I want to see if people say, should one person have that kind of power? And why the fuck are these kind of satellites in the hands of a privateer and not like, like organizations behind this that I don't know. Anyway, anything? Yeah, go
he's
on.
wanting to collect biometric data now too. I mean, are you comfortable with that?
No, of course not. No, it's just like car companies are doing it. Like I have a thing on the docket here with car companies collecting all your fucking datas and you knowing about your own bloody sex life and all this kind of stupid shit. And it's just, I don't want anyone having my fucking data. I know they're gonna have it, but do I want Elon Musk having my fucking data? Imagine what he could do with that kind of shit if you piss him off. Just no. Right. Okay. Moving on.
Hang on. Quick
Let me
side note
see.
about
Well,
Twitter.
we're sticking to the realm of rich cunts. Zam, you want to talk about Rock and Oprah?
Yeah, so I was just looking at some stuff
can't
from
hear
Ruby Frank, but we'll go about. Sorry, you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I
You
can
can
hear
hear
you.
me. Okay.
You're just muted. Is everyone muted?
I think,
No,
I think
I
everybody.
can hear him.
Am I muted?
Yeah, I think
I can
Manny.
hear you.
Oh, it was
yeah,
me, mate. It was me. Yeah, my headphone
Well,
just
I was
went
actually
dilly-dally. Sorry,
want
guys.
to bring up just a quick side note about Twitter. I think you didn't hear me when I was trying to bring it up.
Sorry.
Did you guys hear about Stephen Crowder's advert on Twitter? How much?
No, I have not heard about it.
No.
Yeah, he paid for an advert to be featured on Twitter. It appeared in I think it was about 2,000 user feeds within about 4 hours. So not a hell of a lot of reach. And it was literally retweeted just 3 times.
How much did he pay for it? Does it say?
I don't know, but the fact that he's paying Twitter to advertise and this is the reach he's getting.
That's just beautiful.
I mean, his advert read, "Can't stand liberals, need a laugh, follow me to heal thyself."
Oh my god.
I mean,
And that got 2,000.
About 2,000. Yeah, basically, again, it went into the feeds of about 2,000 people in like the first 4 hours that it was up, and it only got retweeted 3 times.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
It
That guy's done.
It shows just how out of favor he is, even with the conservative movement.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing with abusing his wife and also, showing his penis off to the staff.
Yeah, all the kind of homoerotic stuff and the fact that he pissed off, the people that Shapiro and all them lot work for.
The Daily Wire.
Daily Wire and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, because he turned down like a $50 million contract and then went on this crusade about how Big Con was, a massive scam.
Yeah, I bet he fucking wished he took that bloody money now because...
I bet the Daily Wire's more breathing a sigh of relief that he didn't.
Yeah, big time, especially after everything that came out. They're just like, woo, dodged the bullet there. Because he wouldn't have been able to do the kind of shit because despite what the right-wingers tell you, they a lot of the shit that Crowder was doing at his place of work would not have fucking flown at the Daily Wire at all.
Even his numbers on Rumble have tanked.
Yeah, nobody's listening to him. Nobody's watching him because he just, once you lose things like YouTube and all this kind of stuff, that's it. You're out on your ass. And when you don't have billionaire sugar daddies backing you, you're screwed. You're literally you're screwed. So it's justice anyway. It's poetic justice. It's what he deserves. Hope his wife absolutely rinses him, and we just see him and go full blown, gets caught in a car with a male prostitute, and that'll be the end of that. All right. So yeah, Zam, Rock and Oprah.
So I'm just looking for some clip right now, but yeah, I think I found the right one, so I'm just going to share it. But before I do, let me quickly tell you that with the fires going on in Hawaii, Maui to be more precise, 2 residents of that area are asking people to donate. Now, one of them actually has enough money to have their own private fire brigade, that being Oprah Winfrey. And I'm sure Rock could afford that himself. I'm not sure if he did though. But nevertheless, what they are doing this billionaire and this guy who's so close to being a billionaire himself are asking people like me and you for donations to help people in Maui. And this spits in the face to a lot of people who are living paycheck to paycheck and being asked by people with more money than they'll ever need to help with the situation, which they could probably financially help a lot more than we could ever could. And it's pissing a lot of people off. And I would like to show you this clip here.
Hang on, Zam, are you telling me you're not donating any of your money?
I am not donating a single penny.
You're worse than
This
Hitler,
particular
mate.
thing.
That's just, you know.
He's donating sperm.
Hey, way!
So here it is. So there's a comment here. Like, I mean, by the way, just back. You can just see the Rock's head, but Rock and Oprah back there. But here's a comment saying that you both have more money than all of us combined. You got this. How much will you two get paid from each donation?
And Rock, after asking for donation
Net worth and actual net. Let me
for the
just
people of
put this
Maui
whole
funds.
thing.
Many people highlighted their own wealth, and yes, Oprah's net worth is
Is it?
$2.5 million, and The Rock's net worth is $800 million. So assuming that they went halves on their initial $10 million donation, that's 0.2% of Oprah's net worth and 0.625% of The Rock, a small dent to help the Maui residents who went from paradise to now what is called the deadliest wildfire in American modern history. So why have Oprah and The Rock faced such backlash? Well, one Twitter user said that these two have the audacity to ask everyday citizens to donate to their fundraisers, while on Reddit, a user said, as someone living through this, most people I have spoke to are stoked about it. Check out this post by Ash Cat, who reads out the people of Maui's fund employees' salaries.
These are the salaries of the executives.
Some claim that we've woken up, highlighting the disconnect between celebrities and the general public. But the bigger issue is that this is taken away from the importance of the crisis at hand that we do want to support. Let's put this energy towards helping the victims. So drop a comment sharing information on who to follow and how to actually help.
We were so concerned.
Backlash came in droves for Oprah.
All right.
Yeah, so they both donated $5 million apiece, which is really nothing to them.
Yeah,
I mean, because Oprah Winfrey's got a net worth of, what is it, $2 billion?
yeah.
2.5.
$2.5 billion.
So it would be 0.25% and 0.62% of the Oprah and Rock's wealth.
Yeah,
So
well,
if they donated $10 million,
the figure I've got is basically saying it's 0.5% of their combined wealth.
0.5%. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, Oprah's net worth is reportedly over $2 billion. Rock's stood at $250 million as of February last year.
Yeah.
So,
Look, I mean,
and-
with the Rock, you know, he does like. I'm not defending what they did here because it's ridiculous, and at least he put some money in. He's also donated to the strikes and all this kind of stuff. So he you know, he puts his money where his mouth is. But the point is just fucking donate your money, and don't go on there asking us like when you got rich people like that asking fucking donate. If people like that are genuinely affected by the fires want to ask for donations, or actual charities that don't have CEOs earning $500,000 a fucking year want to ask for money, that's fine. But yeah, it's just in bad taste when you have people like that telling us in a cost of living crisis to donate money.
This is very important that people know this, because charity is a business. Yeah, let's not forget that. It really is a business, because a lot of these, what they want you to do, donate to these particular firms and organizations, and they will definitely take some of this money, and we'll never know. We'll never know what they're gonna do with that fucking money, because what people can do nowadays is that they can avoid these middlemen. You know, everyone has PayPal, everyone has some form of e-wallet where you can collect money. You know, people can just go online on Facebook or Twitter or whatever and say, look, I am in Maui, I'm in Hawaii, I need this fucking money, can you donate to me directly without fucking having to go through people like Oprah Winfrey and The Rock and their organizations. But they don't want you to fucking do that, because they want to fucking take a big percentage of these donations themselves. Charity, without doubt, is one of the biggest fucking businesses out there
Yeah.
because they pull on people's heartstrings.
But also,
So,
this is what FEMA is designed for. If I'm not mistaken, those in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. But that's what FEMA's there. FEMA is there supposed to go in there and fucking help with all these disasters. But every bloody time that there's a disaster, FEMA makes the news for all the wrong bloody reasons because they don't go in and help in these disasters. And the whole Maui thing just. What pisses me off is like, again, these two rich cunts, although the attention they're receiving is negative, they still take away the attention from the tragedy that's hit the people, but also the amount of real estate, the amount of companies that are going in now and buying up the land for cheap and evicting people from their homes so they can sell that land onto like big corporations, like like your BlackRocks and all this kind of stuff, and goddamn, it's property developers. There we go. That's the word I was looking for, and all this kind of shit. People just getting forced out of their homes, and that's not being mentioned in the fucking news.
Disaster profiteering.
Disaster profiteering, disaster capitalism 101, baby. Every time there's a disaster, you're always going to have people that profit from it, and Maui's fucked. It's fucked because once the disaster, the rebuild is going to happen by private corporations, and they're just gonna, the people that once had a home there are just not going to be able to return at all. Insurance companies are paying out a pittance, if anything, and they're just screwed beyond belief. And it's you have to look at the payout on 501c charity. Awareness of a topic is one of the biggest scams. What?
So, sorry.
No, a 501c charity in America has to file quite detailed returns on where the money has gone.
Yeah.
So, you can track where a lot of the money has gone and determine, for yourself whether or not it's a scam or if it's actually been a legitimate charity.
Yeah. So.
I see. Thank you.
So whatever you do not donate to things done by celebrities. Do it through like your disaster relief and stuff like that, because the percentages they get and they do to staff and stuff like that is recorded. So it'll usually be about like 10% of the stuff that you give to them. The rest of it goes to disaster relief. So, for example, disaster relief, UNICEF, all that sort of stuff. That actually go in and do stuff like Red Cross, people like that. Do not give it to these people. They're not going to do anything good with it. So, yeah.
I'd be curious if there is actually any other kind of Maui relief fund that you can donate to, similar to when there's been tsunamis in places like Pakistan or earthquakes, etc.
Yeah, I mean, like with Turkey, because there was a lot of scammers that kind of came out. They were Hassan Abi had to set up his own charity in the end, so he made sure that the money went to him to go to where it needed to go, because there was a lot of scams. And even like here where I live, because I have a large Turkish community, as soon as the earthquake hits, the next day my road where I live was full of lorries, and they were just literally just loading up what people could donate. Like me and my mum, we gave what we could, blankets, underwear, everything that we could give, bit of money as well, because they were going directly. As soon as they loaded up, they were leaving for Turkey to take it straight to the victims, because they were saying the same thing. Like they go, we can't donate it to the charities because a lot of charities in Turkey are just scamming. They're just taking the money and disappearing, or they got tied to the Erdogan government, and that money's just going straight to him, kind of stuff. So they
it's
had
amazing
to.
They got re-elected, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's there's a lot of fraud involved, and the guy's a fascist, so it's not. That they tried. That's why they tried. They questioned the election results, but yeah.
Right,
It's worth doing your homework if you genuinely want to donate to when disasters happen. You have to do a bit of homework to make sure that you donate to the right people.
Okay, so I've managed to find one. Well, I've actually found more than one. The Maui Strong Fund, that seems to be one. There's others as well.
It's the Able Gamers Foundation for just to kind of for people with disabilities that like gaming and things like that. That's quite sweet. Vance. Gaz, sorry, go on, mate. Oh, you've got your dad talking to you. Yeah, you're muted.
Sorry, as I said,
Okay.
what I've managed to find, this is one of them, there's a couple more of them, is the Maui Strong Fund. I put that in private in case you guys want to share that. In case people want to get started. That looks like it's been done by actual people who actually live there.
Well, here's something I found. It's Johnson and Winfrey's call for donations directed supporters to the People's Fund of Maui, promising to put money directly in the pockets of those affected. The Instagram post garnered over 60,000 comments, many expressing disbelief that some of America's wealthiest figures were seeking contributions from those grappling with a cost of living crisis. One comment summed it up saying, "Math ain't mathing with this one. You guys literally have so much money, you can donate it and make it back within a year."
Yeah.
I actually do agree with that.
Yeah, that's a damn good point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, it's just...
I mean, what does Oprah Winfrey need $2 billion for?
Exactly. Nothing.
I say, what does she need $2 billion for? Because again, net worth and how much money you actually have in your account is completely
it's a completely different separate thing. Yeah, absolutely.
But again, she's got to have, I think, $1 billion in assets or $1 billion in money.
Yeah,
you look at the career she's had,
easily.
All those insane contracts she's been paid over the years.
Yeah,
I think well, what does she need with that amount of money?
Well, I mean, it's when they keep getting to William, they're trying to shut him up. But like Dolly Parton could easily have billions. Well, at least like they were saying Dolly Parton could have been a billionaire, but she actually gives her money to amazing causes. Like she does amazing things with her kind of money, and that's why she's not a billionaire, because
absolutely
she uses her own fucking money. She doesn't ask other people to donate, or she doesn't this, that, and the other.
She's not short of a few quid either. I mean,
no, but that's what I mean. Like she could have easily been a billionaire. Like Dolly Parton could have been a billionaire, but she's not, because she's
still living a good life.
She's living a fantastic life. She's not short of any kind of money, but she knows people are in need. And what are you going to do with all that kind of fucking money? How much wealth can you hoard? It's just ridiculous, And I know, look, we could shit on the with The Rock. This was a bad move by him, but he does do a lot of good shit with his money as well. So this was just a bad decision on his part. I'm not here again. I'm just not trying to defend, but at least The Rock has fucking helped a lot of fucking people, and it's stories that people don't hear. And I guarantee you, when that guy passes away, you'll probably hear a lot of stories about who he helped and all this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, at the moment, it's just his ego is stealing all the headlines. If you look at what happened with Black Adam and the whole DC stuff, so yeah, don't do that. Don't steal the limelight. Or if you're going to steal the limelight, make sure it's for the right foundations and you're not a fucking billionaire. Okay. Speaking of more dickheads, Jesus Christ, Jimmy Fallon hit the news the other day in news that was unsurprising at all. Yet another talk show host has been known to create a toxic work environment. Now, granted, this happened back in 2017. This was when he was deep into his alcoholism. I don't know if there's been much happen afterwards with Jimmy Fallon, but there are still managers and executives around Fallon that help foster that toxic work environment as well. And of course, Jimmy Fallon, once you get called out on it, is trying to do damage control and apologize. Shredder, your thoughts?
Well, it was 19 ex-members of staff that Rolling Stone had spoken to, and they've said that there were two. It was basically two people. There was either good Jimmy days or bad Jimmy days.
Yeah,
a lot of it depended on how much he'd had to drink.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's staff apparently working there who are prepared to defend him and say that, oh well, no, he's never yelled at me. It's a decent working environment. I'm happy working here. But again, that doesn't change the fact that apparently they found 19 ex-members of staff who said otherwise. And Jimmy has had to come out and make an apology, saying, I'm sorry if I caused any kind of toxic work environment. And again, as you pointed out, this is not new. I mean, James Corden got called out for it, for creating a toxic work environment. Ellen DeGeneres got called out for it. I mean, the only ones I can think of who hadn't really been called out for it, there's Jimmy Kimmel, Conan O'Brien, and Craig Ferguson.
What about Stephen Colbert?
Oh yeah, and Colbert.
Yeah.
But it's nothing new. Like even what's his name? Black version of looks like me. Potato with a mustache.
Black version of you looks like
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey. That's it.
Oh,
yeah, Steve Harvey. He's another one. A complete toxic arsehole to work for.
You're a toxic arsehole, Ginger Greek?
No, my arsehole is toxic, but I'm not a toxic arsehole. And I literally saying that as I'm farting away here. By the way, I had lentil soup earlier, and so that's coming back.
Yeah, don't
like our Roker.
Don't like to match near Ginger Greek. That's all.
Yeah, that's why the cat's not sitting near me either. She's sitting by the hallway. But it's nothing new. But Jimmy also alluded to the fact that he years ago when he kind of came out about his alcoholism, he also said like he was an arsehole during that. So I'm kind of surprised that he's come out and apologizing again, because he openly talked about his alcoholism. Oh look, Captain Toxicity himself. That outrageous. Come on here and defend yourself, you piece of shit. You wait till the stream comes off. I'm gonna make. But yeah, that's Jimmy Fallon. So hopefully,
what was it? Guest studio, guest dressing rooms. What were they were described as crying rooms?
Yes, they were. Yeah, for the staff to go in there and get away from Jimmy and have a bawl their fucking eyes out. Just that's the problem with TV, because as well there's with Saturday Night Live and all the kind of toxic shit that happens there all the time, still to this day. It's just like, why do you need that kind of work environment? Like what kind of human being are you to kind of just want to be that shitty towards other people? It just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. All right, but Jimmy, okay, alcoholism, you can maybe say, all right, well, it's not an excuse. I'm just saying, he was fucked. So, what are the executives' excuses? Because it wasn't just him. There were writers that were saying that there was a few executives kind of helped foster that environment as well.
Well, there was no stability because there was 9 showrunners in 9 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, okay. Moving on to so my brain's just not fucking working today. It's too hot and my ass just won't stop. Dave Masterson from That 70s Show and some other stuff has been sentenced to 30 years in prison.
Minimum
30 years.
30 years.
30 years. 30 years
minimum,
to life.
Yeah, 15 years per person that he raped, basically. And it was 2 of the 3 victims got a conviction out of him. The 3rd one kind of fell apart, or something like that. But yeah, good. It kind of like, I have a friend of mine who's, his views on women are just, I've called him out on it a million times, and a couple of my friends on Facebook have called him out when he's commenting on things like that. Like, he doesn't believe it happened, and why they're talking about it now when it happened all these years ago. And I'm like, well, first of all, mate, he's a Scientologist. They were Scientologists, and it would have been virtually impossible to kind of talk about it. And those women, I think they seized the opportunity to call him out during the Me Too movement, because there were so many eyes on everyone that it would have been impossible for even the Church of Scientology to silence people on it.
Well, except they've been trying to back him.
The
Church of Scientology, they've been trying to back.
Yeah, no, they've been trying to back him. They've been going after the victims and all this kind of stuff. But the point is like the other times where they tried when the accusations were brought forward, and look, they couldn't get eyes or ears on them, but because of the Me Too movement, they went again, and they managed to get eyes and ears on it this time, and it couldn't have been ignored, and there was a whole investigation. But those victims have been through hell because the church has definitely gone after them, trying to silence them and try to paint them as like liars and smearers and all this kind of shit. But the church, because Miscavige, whatever his name is, he's on the run from the feds now.
David Miscavige.
Miscavige, thank you. Yes, the church is in complete disarray, so they're all over the place, and it was just a perfect time to kind of try and get some justice. And thankfully, justice has been served. And yeah, fuck that guy. Good.
Well, not
30 years.
only that, the way the Church of Scientology also works is that they will actually prioritize a celebrity of some kind over whatever rank that these women are. Now, I don't know who these women are, so I don't know what part of the Church of Scientology they were involved in. I mean, they could have been involved in something like the Sea Org, for example, where you sign like a billion-year service contract in order to take part.
Does that mean that any kids you have there automatically in the church and all this kind of shit?
The Church of Scientology does actually class any children that you have as being automatically members of the Church of Scientology. But when it came to Danny Masterton, again, I thought it was incredible the fact that he actually got minimum 30 years in prison, meaning he will literally be that 70s prisoner by the time he gets out.
Life is over.
He'll be 77 by the time he's eligible for parole. And the fact is, he showed no remorse at all throughout the trial or even during the sentencing. So, I very much doubt he's even going to get a release at that point. I think he's probably going to die behind bars. And
good.
Deservedly so.
Good. I mean, one accusation is one thing, but three. There's three.
Three, and two they got a conviction on.
And two they got the conviction on. You know what I mean? And the first time round they went to trial, that they had to do a retrial because of some shit with the jury and all this kind of stuff.
It was a take jury because I think some information came out about the victim, I believe, from what I read. So basically, some flaming arsehole, the defense side leaked some information about her. So basically, they had to take a jury. So they had to basically re-get a new jury. That's why.
Thank you, Gary.
It's fucking moronic. Sorry, excuse me, French.
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. They tried everything to kind of get a mistrial and all this kind of shit. It just I'm just glad that justice has been served. The camera makes it look like they're not actually. What? Shut up, Hans. Yeah. So, any other thoughts on that, Sam? No, sweet.
I don't know. I heard about the story. Never watched the 70s show. Rapist. I mean, I will say very quickly that I get obsessed with when I was younger and stuff like that. I would be obsessed with certain girls. I want them to be mine and shit like that. But the act of rape is just something I never understood, because when I've I told you about the amount of whores I fucked, and sometimes when I fuck certain whores, they're not even into it. Like they wouldn't even pretend to give a shit. It's such a turn off. There's nothing worse, than a girl who's not into it. As far as I'm concerned, I can't fucking get myself going if she doesn't want to fucking be involved in it. Which is why certain whores I see, at least act like they give a fuck, and that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? If you're not into
it just depends on the some people either get off on it or some people just can't help themselves. There's so many. There's different factors to it. Like no is such an offensive word to some fucking men that they literally lose their shit over it. Like I have like this one. Like, Sam, I'll let you finish before I talk about.
Andrew, like that audio tape of Andrew Tate, where he basically really got more turned on by the fact that the girl who he was allegedly sexually abusing, raping, fucking, however you want to call it, wasn't into it, and he liked it even more. That she was hurting and everything. and I've just never understood that, man. I mean, you know, it's just something I could never grasp, because I want the person I'm fucking to enjoy it just as much as I want to enjoy it.
Yeah,
You
but
know
the
what I mean?
problem is, you
Yeah.
have a conscience, and
Some people are just massive
you know,
control freaks.
yeah,
Yeah.
Some people are
mean,
just
it's
massive control
essentially-
freaks in every
it's essentially-
aspect.
It's a
No,
sense of
because I've
power.
had, as I said earlier, because I don't want to think I'm perfect. I've had obsessions and stuff like that. I've been an arsehole, you know what I mean? I've been possessive, all of these sort of things. But that's, you know, I've grown out of those things in a way because, you know, because I've kind of seen the light, and certain girls in my life have made me realize the errors of my ways and really put me in my place at times. You know what I mean? Which has made me realize, shit, I don't want to be this fucking person. You know, I mean, it
The
really
thing
has
is,
made me
like,
realize this.
did you realize what you were doing at the time? And that's an important question. Did you realize, or it just because of your character at the time, it didn't register
I
to
was
you?
younger and I didn't know, but I was still developing. I want to quickly tell you the story of this girl I met on the internet. I was 21 at the time. She was 27. Her name was Indian QT 27, and she
Yeah,
came
we
down.
know that. But yeah, say it again. It's all right.
She came down to see me. The stars kind of aligned that particular month because my mum and dad were out of the country, so I had the house to myself. You know, my brother wasn't living with me either, so I had the house to myself. She came down. She was fucking gorgeous. You know what I mean? She had a sexy accent as well. She's a fucking solicitor. All of these things, and we fucking fucked and shit like that. It was great. Couldn't wait to introduce her to my mates. And then she started acting really she started flirting with my mates, and I got really pissed off because, as far as I'm concerned, this fucking gorgeous girl's mine. And then I made a scene saying, you know, you guys leave her alone. She's mine. She's not with you. She's with me. And then she put me in my place there and then, and saying, you don't own me. I don't belong to you. I'm a free girl. I could do what the fuck I want. And she said that right in front of my mates, and I wanted to fucking die there and then. And so I went into my bedroom. I think my mates might have fucked the shit out of her. I don't know. You know what I mean? But yeah, it was a moment that kind of made me realize, shit, you know, like being possessive and all of these sort of things. You know, it wasn't good, but in a way, I kind of got put in my place. I got humiliated, really humiliated in front of my mates as well. It was.
But that's I look.
Yeah,
so
that was a long time ago.
What you
25
did
years ago.
Yeah, but the thing is, you were still the bigger person in that you realized what you were doing after you got put in your place. We've seen situations, and you know, you coming from a Muslim background and all this, you know the kind of attitudes that can be had towards women. That situation could have turned a lot worse for her, because sometimes when a woman does that, you know, stands up for herself and all that, red mist can come over men, and they, you know, they could just become like fucking violent. I know this because I know I've seen all this kind of I have a lot of female friends, and they tell me the horror stories that you know, the abusive relationships they've been in. You know, a couple have been raped or sexually assaulted and all this kind of shit, and you just see what it does to them, and it's just, this is why I get fucking triggered with dickheads like Andrew Tate becoming so popular, because it's like, you have no idea how much you're putting women in danger by worshiping people like this. And you know, it was lucky that you saw the error of your ways and didn't go the other way, because that could have easily happened as well. Gaz?
Yeah, like I've got a younger sister. She's what, 3 and a bit years younger than me. She's told me all the stories. So, and he's made me prioritize. But like to answer what Zamba said, rape isn't about sex. It's about power. It's taking away power from somebody else, because it's taking away the ability for someone to say yes or no. That's what it's about. It's not about, because the thing is that because and that unfortunately some men are like that. It's I'm glad that probably in our generation it's going to go less, and it's going to be like every generation it's going to be less, in my opinion. Like people say, oh well, men are never going to change. Yeah, like as I said, I think in our generation, when our generation dies out, the end of this sort of thing is going to be just on the horizon. And I think it's going to be.
It depends. It depends how we approach it, because there has been a rise. in like
It'd be the last hurrah for sure.
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's the last hurrah.
there has been a rise in kind of misogynistic misogynism among young men thanks to fucking social media. So you have to I mean, they are making approaches in schools now to kind of help tackle it, because it's a legit problem, and it's a huge problem among teenage boys. So it's not the last hurrah. The last hurrah comes when you just don't allow, like, I'm all for free speech, but there are certain messages that will undoubtedly put people in danger that just
Agreed.
should be monitored, because you just can't allow this kind of shit to fester just because it gets views and helps your algorithm and your advertising, all this kind of shit. At some point there has to be a genuine morality attached to social media. You can't just keep going down this path, because we're the ones that have to pick up the slack, and there are legitimate victims. I mean, we've seen it with the trans community and what's happened to them in the last couple of years, like how things have gotten even worse for them because they just allowed the platforms for this
open bigotry
garbage.
now, man.
Yeah,
people are openly bigoted now. Like there's times where you would do dog whistling, not anymore, man. You know what I mean? Everything is just in your face, open racism, bigotry, homophobia, transphobia, xenophobia. It's all just in your face. No longer disguised.
Yeah, William.
I was wondering if any of you had heard that story, just because you mentioned about Andrew Tate and obviously the whole thing with educating young men into not going down that rabbit hole. There was an MP, Nick Fletcher. He made a call recently for a minister for men. Basically, he wants something similar to the women's minister, the minister for women and equalities.
Right.
And on the surface, I could actually see there's some very, very good points there, because he says that he wants basically to reduce suicide rates in men. He would like to recruit more men into roles as primary school teachers so that young boys have role models to look up to. He would like to recruit more men into professions like nursing. At the same time, though, I mean, this is the same guy who literally got triggered by the idea of a female Doctor Who.
No, yeah.
Oh God. So
on
one hand,
very promising.
No role models for men because there was a female Doctor Who.
Yeah, Jesus Christ! You think they're going to be, the idea is right, but then when the person running it means that what kind of policies will they put in place?
I mean, in all honesty, I don't think we need a minister for men for all of this stuff. I'm more disgusted about the fact that mental health is now out of Labour's portfolio.
Yeah, well, everything's out of Labour's portfolio.
Yeah, well, no, but the cabinet reshuffle, Dr. Rosanna Alvin Khan resigned because she was Labour's shadow spokesperson for mental health, and she was no longer getting invited to shadow cabinet meetings.
Yeah. I actually think there should be a minister for men, because the mental health stuff you're just raising, but also the fact that still in this country, especially Western Irish one, the women tend to be more likely to get that custody of the kids and stuff like that. So maybe something to advocate for men to have more share in the care for kids, because the thing is, passing it all on the mother. I think. I mean, in some cases it's warranted because of
these laws can be changed fairly easily, Gary. I mean, over 2/3 of MPs are men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't need a minister.
It's not. That's not a minister for men thing. No,
effectively,
it's a law thing. Yeah.
Effectively, what I think Nick Fletcher is trying to get. Again, there's some points on the surface that sound very good. I think probably they should be looking at recruiting more men into primary school professions. So again, young boys have male role models to look up to. Yes, I think there probably should be more of a recruitment drive for male nurses. Similar to how we've seen recruitment drives for things like the police force and the fire brigade for women. I think on the surface, those sound very, very good. The same with advocating for mental health, because again, men are more likely to commit suicide. But the way it it comes across from Nick Fletcher, unfortunately, because of his track record on this and other issues in particular. This is more like he's wanting effectively a minister similar to the platform positions of Paul Elam from A Voice for Men.
I don't know who that is.
Paul Elam, Paul Elam is a guy who ran a Voice for Men. He's basically like a hardcore misogynist. Now, he talks about improving men's rights, but at the same time, it's more of a platform where it is just rampant misogyny. Again, Paul Elam's a guy who has gone on record and said that if he was ever on the jury for a rape case, he would automatically acquit the man, even if he knew he was guilty.
What the hell?
Fucking fantastic. That is great.
But look, again, we have as men, we have over 2/3 of the MPs in Parliament. A lot of this stuff could change very, very easily. Do I think there should be more focus on certain issues? Yeah, absolutely. I don't think we need a minister for men for that, though.
No, we need better. Yeah, just better laws, more equal laws and things. Just get looked over. Again, like one of the big issues that we do face is obviously tied to the kind of current state of the cost of living and just the general kind of state of capitalism as it is, and this kind of men feeling left out because they're told their whole life, you have to be the breadwinner, or you have to do this and this, and because upward mobility is fucked in this country, it's plummeted by 50%. You do get people that just kind of feel lost and inadequate, and that's why you see this, poverty and all this does drive up your suicide rates and poor mental health situations and all of this. So it's not even a quick fix with one or two things. It's like the whole system has its knock-on effects. It's as simple as that.
I mean, to give you some more of an idea of just how deranged Nick Fletcher is and why, again, some of it sounds great on the surface, but again, when you look into the character of the man in question who's, bringing it up, I mean, he's said that children of working parents may commit crime later in life. And he's also said that he wants pronouns taken out of all schools because we're confusing people.
Where's the pronoun?
And he also wants, this is another one I remember, he also wanted parents to be given the right to pull kids out of classes, basically with regard to family and relationships. And I think, well, no, that shouldn't be something that you're allowed to do because, for one, you want boys to learn about consent and how to actually fucking behave. And two, you want people to learn signs of abuse.
Yeah.
It's one of the big reasons why it's a horrifying prospect that America and some legislators there want to remove sex education from the curriculum. Because sex education has helped cut down child molestation. Because
that's right. They don't want them to know what it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
People are taught consent and signs of abuse, and they're able to actually determine what's going on, what's happening to them, when they're being interfered with by an adult.
I remember that. Yeah, so basically we definitely don't want Nick Fletcher right, because he just basically sounds like he just wants to put men on top of everything, basically. And not in a gay way.
As I said, there's some great things there. Again, absolutely, I'm all for a targeted campaign for men's mental health. I'm all for a targeted campaign to get more men into professions like primary education. I'm not in favor of a minister for men.
No, that's fair. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, spot on. Okay, well, going from men to mothers, Ruby Frank.
I'm very happy you brought this up.
Zan, take it then if you want, mate.
I would like to read you this article from the New York Times. It's not a long article, but it'll basically explain it all.
I'm still here. I'm just getting my drink.
Okay. A host of YouTube parenting channel is charged with child abuse. Ruby Frank, a Utah mother known for chronicling her strict parenting style, was arrested after one of her children ran into the neighbor's house seeking help. A Utah mother who chronicled a strict parenting style on YouTube and other social media channels was arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse this week after one of her children climbed out of a window and ran into a nearby house seeking help, officials said. Ruby Frank, 41, was arrested on Wednesday in Irvins, a city in southern Utah, at the home of Jody Hildebrand, her business partner, who was also arrested. Miss Frank hosted the new defunct YouTube channel 8 Passengers, where she posted videos about her parenting approach with her 6 children, including refusing them food as a form of punishment. Miss Frank and Miss Hildebrand were each charged on Friday with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse, according to the Washington Court Attorney Office. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison and a fine of up to $10,000, the Attorney Office said. According to the affidavit, Ms. Frank's 12-year-old son, identified as RF in the document, climbed out a window at Ms. Hildebrand's home and went to a neighbor's house on Wednesday morning, asking for food and water. The child had duct tape on his ankles and wrists, as well as open wounds. He appeared immaculate. I can never say this word.
Emaciated.
Yes, and malnourished. The neighbor called the police, who then found Ms. Frank's 10-year-old daughter Eve at Ms. Hildebrand's. She also appeared to be malnourished. The affidavit said both children were taken to a hospital. The boy was placed on medical hold due to his deep lacerations from being tied up with a rope from his malnourishment. According to the affidavit, Ms. Frank was seen on YouTube video filmed in Ms. Hildebrand's home and was posted 2 days ago. The affidavit said, adding that Ms. Frank and Ms. Hildebrand, 54, had knowledge of the abuse, malnourishment, and neglect. The 2 children, who believed to be in direct care of Ms. Hildebrand, the police said in the affidavit. A search of Ms. Hildebrand's home found devices consistent with the markings found on the 12-year-old, the police said in a statement. The police contacted the Utah Division of Child and Family Services, and a total of 4 children were taken into care. A judge on Tuesday denied bail for both Ms. Frank and Ms. Hildebrand because of the severities of the injuries of her 2 kids located in the home, according to the court's record. At one point, Ms. Frank had nearly 2.5 million subscribers to her channel, following the lives of her 6 children: Shari, Chad, Abby, Julie, Russell, and Eve. In 2020, Chad Frank, then 15, told YouTube viewers in one family video that he had been sleeping on a beanbag for months, and that he had lost his bedroom after playing a prank on his little brother, according to the Insider. In one video recorded by Ms. Frank and reposted on TikTok, she said her daughter Eve's teacher had called her to say Eve had come to school without lunch. Ms. Frank said the teacher was uncomfortable with her being hungry, but that Eve was responsible for making her own lunch, and that the natural outcome is she's going to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her lunch, because then she's going to learn from it, Ms. Frank said. A YouTube spokeswoman, Nicole Bowl, said in an email on Friday.
The kid was only 5 or 6 years old, by the way.
Yep. YouTube spokeswoman Nicole Bowl said in an email on Friday that 2 channels linked to Ms. Frank have been terminated. Ms. Frank now appears on social media channels on behalf of Ms. Hildebrand's counseling and business Connections Classrooms, which claims on its websites and empower people by educating them with principles of truth, learning to be honest, responsible, and humble. The two appear together frequently on Instagram accounts called Moms of Truth. It was not immediately clear who was representing Ms. Frank or Ms. Hildebrand. A lawyer, Ms. Frank's husband, Kevin Frank, did not immediately return a request for comment. Shari Frank, now a janitor at Brighton Young University, posted about her mother's arrest on Instagram, saying justice is being served. We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this, and so glad they finally decided to step up, she wrote, referring to the Division of Child and Family Services. Kids are safe, but there's a long road ahead. She did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Ellie Meckham, Julie Griffiths Diru, Bonnie Hillowin, who claimed on Instagram to be Miss Frank's sisters, said in a statement on Thursday that they had done everything we could to try and make sure the kids were safe over the past 3 years. The sisters also document their own family lives on social media. Ruby was arrested, which needed to happen. Jody was arrested, which needed to happen. The statement said the kids are now safe, which which is the number one priority. That's it.
Yeah. William?
So this is
Dan.
unfortunate. Well, this is
Yeah.
unfortunately something we've seen before. Daddy 05.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
there's others as well that I can remember, but I can't fucking. It doesn't come to my.
Look.
But
We
yeah,
got,
it's not new.
once again, like gays and trans people are looked upon as abusers and groomers and stuff. But as we can see with this Mormon woman, once again, it tends to be evangelical religious people like these people who tend to do the worst and the most heinous things. And I've watched some of her videos and I've seen her. She's obviously a bit of an exhibitionist. She's also very much a domineering person who gets off on being cruel to her kids. And
100% a sadistic. Yeah.
These kids are just learning they're growing up in this world, and they're going to do silly things now and again. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to forget all of these things. And then how are you helping the matter? By duct taping them, taking away their beds so they sleep on beanbags.
She doesn't care.
Malnourishing them.
Doesn't care. It's
She's
all about
gonna kill
control.
them. But eventually, this line of parenting will kill your kid.
Yeah.
It can kill your kid. And then she'll fucking regret that she done any of this shit, because then she'll be done for murder.
She won't regret. She won't regret. No, it won't register. She'll play the victim in this.
She'll play the victim, but she'll regret. She'll still regret that it led to that. To put her life in this particular predicament. But the point is, I'm very happy that her kids have been taken away, that she has been arrested, because without doubt, one of her kids would definitely have died. The way she was going.
It was taking time, but yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's appalling. It had to get to this stage where it took one of the kids escaping the house with duct tape on his hands and his ankles, his wrists and his ankles, and begging food or anything to actually be done. Now I wasn't aware of this channel. From what I have read, there had been multiple reports about the behavior, about what was the way the kids were being treated, but nothing ever happened. Child Protective Services didn't step in.
Yeah, how many times have we heard this situation, and then it ends up being too late?
It reminded me of Daddy 05. Again, he was openly abusing his kids on camera, and lo and behold, it didn't matter how many calls were made, that nothing seemed to ever be done about it.
No, it was only when internet pressure kicked in that something was actually done.
Well, and the mother got involved with a legal trial.
Yeah.
I know Ruby Frankie's husband has issued a statement via a lawyer saying that they've been separated for over a year. And I think as well.
But did he report any of this abuse? I don't think he gives a shit either, because he didn't report any of this to the police?
Well, apparently this has been going on, and apparently this has only been going on since he left. He never noticed any of it.
I find that fucking difficult to believe. I think he's just trying to save his own skin. Let's see what the kids have to say about that. If the kids, if they agree it's only been happening since he's gone, then fine. But I don't know. Unless
the eldest daughter knew, and she's no longer living with them because she's an adult, and she knew. But this woman, the fact that she had 6 fucking kids and she treats them like that, why are you having so many fucking kids? And you can tell that it's all about her, because you can see that she she keeps herself looking nice. She does her hair and makeup and stuff like that, and she just wants to treat her kids like shit at the same fucking time. It's just this woman.
The kids are a status symbol for her. They're not. There are people that literally will just have kids just for a fucking status symbol to say, "Hey, look how many kids I have. Look, I'm a good Mormon."
Or they've had them. They don't care. I mean, the fact that there's the older estranged daughter. Another name that popped into my mind was Honey Boo Boo.
What about Honey Boo Boo?
Well, if you remember, there was an older daughter who was estranged. And one of the big bones of contention was the fact that the mother was dating a pedophile.
All right. I didn't.
Oh,
No, I
yes,
didn't
yes,
follow
yes.
anything with that family. I didn't watch the shows. I didn't know any of the stories.
I didn't watch. Well, that's the thing. I didn't watch the shows. I occasionally it popped into my news feed because again, it was a big story at the time.
Yeah,
The fact that she had welcomed back into the home a registered sex offender.
bloody hell. Jesus Christ. Well,
I mean, it's absolutely appalling. I mean, that this was allowed to even go on. This is the kind of story that if you've got younger relatives or you have kids of your own, this is the kind of thing that, gets you just fucking hug them tight.
yeah,
Knowing that there are monsters out there using children like this.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
absolutely.
there's worse going on than this. I mean, this is something that's been caught, but I've seen clips of whilst researching on this, I saw a clip of this one girl with a chain around the neck with a padlock on it and stuff like.
Yeah, it's just it's just infuriating that these people do these kind of shit, and a lot of the times, the protective services that are there. Like I can speak for the UK, that's social services is just struggling to fucking recruit people because obviously cuts to funding and all this kind of stuff. And we've seen it personally. Like my nieces, I say my nieces, like my first cousin's kids, and in Greek family, that's still your nieces. Their mother was completely unfit, and the dad tried to take them away, called social services. Social services came to the house, and she was like, "No, you're not coming in," and that was it. They went away.
Well,
they didn't do anything. They didn't pursue. They didn't investigate. They did
not only
nothing.
that, social services, unfortunately, they are always the bad guys. Well, at least they're portrayed as the bad guys whenever something like this happens.
Yeah.
Their hands are generally tied behind their back. I mean, look at
they're very restricted in what they could do. I know. I've worked in the care industry. I dealt with social services all the time. Yeah, sorry.
Probably the most infamous case in this country was probably Baby P.
Yep, and that was by the council that's just up the road from me, for the Haringey Council.
Right, yeah. And everybody was saying, well, why didn't social services notice anything? Well, social services, there were things that she did to hide things from social services. Like, for example, because Baby P was so young, it was very, very easy for her to smear chocolate spread all over him.
Yeah,
and claim he just got into a Nutella jar, and actually that was hiding bruises.
That's right. Yeah.
What social service is supposed to do? Insist that she bathes the child there and then. I mean,
but the thing is, it's like, yeah, the problem is when there are more and more complaints kind of start coming in, they really have to just fucking focus on that family. But
they did. That's the thing. They did everything within their power, but they got portrayed as the bad guys by the press.
Of course, yeah. But again, no, you do have a point that their hands were kind of tied as what they could do. Things have changed since then. I know that that not by much because obviously staffing numbers are down, but in terms of acting out on abuse, because we'd hear horror stories like where I worked. I can happily hold my hand up and say that you're child, they're adults that went to the day center. But where I worked, I can happily hold my hand up and say they are 100% safe working there because my boss had zero tolerance to the smallest thing, and any small mark that the person got, we had to document it, to protect ourselves and all this kind of stuff.
Well, it's not just to protect yourself, but it's also, so that they can establish a pattern. So, if somebody is regularly showing up with bruises and it's being documented, okay, well, the first time it was documented, okay, well, they fell out their chair. Okay.
Yeah.
That's happened once. Okay, what precautions were taken to make sure that didn't happen again? Why are they still showing up with bruises? Is something else going on?
There's also, and
is it neglect or is it abuse?
Well, this is it. And then there'll also be cases of, self-harming. So that, they're self-harming because of anxiety. Why are they self-harming? Is this a new behavior? What's going on? And so, Zam, you're right.
I'm nodding, but I'm fine. Let's do this.
Okay, just making sure you're alive, mate. I don't mind you falling asleep, but just because you slumped forward rather than backwards, so just double checking. But yeah, that's what I mean. So
Yeah.
you note the markings, and then you look, like as you say, patterns of behavior and all this kind of stuff. I remember one of our students, clients, sorry, one of our clients, it was the first time they went swimming with us. So obviously, when they're getting changed, another member of staff noticed marks on their back, and they're like, God, what kind of marks is this? So they documented it, they marked it, they spoke to the care home they were in. They were like, well, we don't know anything about it and all this kind of stuff. And then again, a couple of weeks, they go swimming, they find markings are there, they even read them before and all this kind of shit. Anyway, long story short, the care home he was in, they were whipping him to kind of stop him from like attacking them and other people, but they were beating him, and that was making the behavior worse. So there was a whole fucking investigation into that. And it didn't take long. As soon as the markings, like we're talking about a 1 month process here, from the first time they saw it to the second time they saw it to the thing. But with my nieces, social services completely fucking let them down. Thankfully, touch wood, the mother has turned her life around. I think there was a change in medication, and because she went through, had a massive cancer scare and all this kind of stuff, she's changed massively. So thankfully, the girls are in a safe environment and they're with their dad a lot more frequently and all this kind of shit. So we were very lucky, but it could have gotten a lot worse because social services did not step in at all. They just came, knocked on the door, and then walked away, and that was it. Gads.
To bring this back to Ruby Frankie, there's one other big issue I've got with this, which is there is no fucking way that YouTube can claim that they review flagged videos from now on.
No, no.
I know the channel's been taken down. I know our channel's disappeared. There are clips still doing the rounds, both in news reports and people who've mirrored the videos. And these things have been reported. It's fucking blatantly obvious that there was some abuse going on in there. You don't even need to have, heard about the story. And I think we have lost Zam.
Oh, that's all right. Leave him there. He's happily nodding off.
Yeah, but no, but again,
I'm sorry. I'm doing my best.
Zam, if you need to crash out, just go for it, mate.
No, it's all right. It's all good. I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah,
fair enough.
As long as you're happy.
But the fact is, look, YouTube didn't review this stuff. If YouTube had actually reviewed this stuff, they would have a duty of care to have, one, reported it, and two, taken the whole channel down long before it escalated to this point. The same with when all that shit was going on with Daddy 05.
Yeah, I genuinely think there should be class action lawsuit brought against YouTube now. Who would file it? I don't know, but basically just to say not enough is done to protect kids on that fucking platform from their own bloody parents. We're not talking about strangers here. We're not talking about nonsense kind of stalking children. We're talking about how many times have we heard these kind of horror stories, and what's it going to take for them to be like, okay, you know what, we're actually not going to allow family with underage children on YouTube, meaning that you take away a platform for them to make money, and unless it's something like benign like toy reviews or something like that. But there has to be stricter guidelines, stricter protections, because you are going to end up with people like her and Daddy 05 and all this that just exploit their children to make it all about them and to make money and to capitalize on that. Then more definitely needs to be done. I know that they're is it here in the UK where they're not looking at to levy heavy fines on social media sites that have children under 13 on their platform?
They were talking about it. I don't think they've pushed it through yet.
Is that for here in the UK? No, I know they.
It was. Well, they're talking about it
here in the UK, and I'm actually okay with that. You know what I mean? I really did. Look, we have to have all the fucking facial recognition technology to kind of help with all this kind of stupid shit. But it's not just that. I personally don't think that people family life should be allowed to be portrayed on social media platforms. I just don't, because you get creepy shit a lot of the time. Hey, system.
There are some. I mean, like for instance, when it came to like my birds, some of the bird channels I watched when it came to researching on certain birds, had like a mum and a daughter who were carers of birds and stuff like that, and their relationship seemed to be pretty cool, and they would go outside and free fly their birds and stuff like that, and they were nothing like Ruby Frank. You know, they were nothing like them at all. You know, she was.
But that's not
Yeah.
portraying a family life, if you know what I mean. That's not about. It's not about the kids and the mother. It's about the birds. It's about a certain thing. That's why I
Yeah.
say like toy reviews are fine, because it's just about reviewing the toys, and you could genuinely tell when the kids are into it, because like you can see how, again, you can just tell. There's a way you can tell. But the kind of family channels that are just all about the family, like your Daddy of Fives and Ruby Franks, that kind of shit just shouldn't be allowed on there. And with that family, with the bird and all that, I still think under a certain age they shouldn't be allowed either. There needs to be better
It all
protections.
started off with like that 19 kids and counting and shit like that. And I'm surprised that they ended up being the way they did. You know,
with
their
the
fucking
brother molesting, like
Yeah.
their
3 or
sisters.
4 of his sisters, yeah.
And on top of that, like
Well, Timmy's
as they
15,
were
mate.
churning
That's all right.
as they were churning out more kids, you know, they started letting some of the parental responsibilities go towards the elder children. But that's not their responsibility. Your responsibility as a parent is to be a parent to your kids. And if you can't be a parent to your kids, then stop fucking having kids, because you don't give that responsibility to your children. Now and again, you know, it's okay that your elder child might babysit your younger child, whatever, while you go out. But they're not there to bring up the fucking kids. They're not there to be surrogate fucking dads and shit and mums for you, because you got so many fucking kids that you can't handle looking after them all yourself. It just became an absolute fucking gimmick for these motherfuckers to churn out child after child after child. You know what I mean? I bet they forget which kids they got. When you got 19 kids, you can easily so many. You need to have your children need to have a bond with you. You know what I mean? They need to have a bond with you. Like, they're not gonna have a bond with you if there's so many fucking kids that they all have to. You know, they're jumping over each other to fucking just try and get a moment with their mum and dad. It's just ridiculous.
Well, after a certain period, you should just have your tubes fucking tied at this point. Like, again, we live in a world of overpopulation, and that's just fucking ridiculous, man. 19 kids, Jesus Christ, must be like throwing a penny down a canyon.
I think they ended up having 23 in the end.
Fuck
Yeah, I
me.
mean, like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, Gaz, I'll come to you in a second. I'm not sure that you wanted to say something first.
Well, no, it was with regard to the whole thing you were saying about the family channels. I actually don't object to family channels on YouTube in principle. There's some very, very wholesome channels out there. I don't really subscribe to them, but I've seen plenty of the shorts pop up in my feed where it's like, you know, the family's actually just playing a game together. I have no problem with that at all. What I think needs to be in place, though, is actual fucking safeguards when it comes to YouTube. If a video is being reported that, hey, look, something fucking isn't right here, you know, I think this kid's being abused, that needs to be looked at immediately. That should be up there as priority, like if you were reporting child pornography on YouTube.
Yeah. So something like, I mean, if you are, it should be noted that if you are running a family channel, they should be more closely monitored, basically.
Absolutely, there's got to be some safeguard in there.
I've got some comments from Rumble, by the way. What's up? John Quarrels. What's up from the US guys? He's right.
Hey,
it starts with the children. Zam's got a good point. What self-respecting woman will want to be pregnant for 20-something years? Did I say that?
No, you didn't say that. You just like, how many fucking kids do you need? It's not about.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, I get you. I get you. Sorry, yeah. Well, look, yeah, exactly. You need to be a parent to your kids, and if you got 20 kids, you can't be a parent to them because there's too many kids to be a parent to. So yeah,
it's just insanity, you know. Fucking, how do you cope? You can't cope. It just boggles my mind. Gaz.
Yes, so a couple of things. The first one is I think it proves why this cost of living crisis stuff and all this stuff has been that a lot of services are having their what's the word, like services thing stretched, so they can't really get to everybody. So
Yeah, the budgets are cut and stretched.
like
Thin.
the budgets are close, so
Yeah, that's
basically
austerity. That's not the cost of living. The cost of living crisis is what ordinary working people are going through. Austerity is what we've all been living under for 13 years, and the services have been absolutely gutted because, Tory mates need billions of pounds for no reason. Yeah. Carry on, guys. Sorry.
Anyway, but yeah, on to your point before about the whole family channel. No, the thing is, I've subscribed to this guy recently who's a young kid, but he's on there with his mum. The thing is, this guy passed away recently because like he had like all sorts of like organ failure stuff. I think that's been quite cathartic. That's been quite cathartic to me to watch because I have a young member of my family pass away, so that's been kind of like healthy to watch. But I can understand it from what Shredder was saying before about like, there's people out there who abuse the shit out of their kids. But the thing is, there's stuff like that which is kind of wholesome because like this little kid, all he wanted to be was like a pirate and stuff like that, and like his mum's like dealing is like kind of like putting videos of him like before he passed away and stuff like that. And it's kind of like the stuff like that. That's sort of like the other side of it that could maybe get hit with like a kind of hold off for everybody. So I think it should be a case by case basis on that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, you guys bring up Shredder's point head on, about just having better safeguards in place. For family run channels or channels that involve children. For sure, they should definitely be more closely monitored to make sure that, and there should be dedicated teams for that, because at the end of the day, you can't put a fucking price on people's safety, and that's when it comes to Google. Yeah,
how long has like Ruby Frank's channel been going on for? Was it like 4 or 5 years or something, or was it longer than that?
About 2 years, wasn't it?
That's a good question.
I don't know, but it was more about her than it was about her kids. I mean, I'll give you a good example, and Cheeto, I hope you're listening to this because you're the good example. Cheeto has kids, and one of his kids has his own channel, and that's for him, for him to be himself, to, be a YouTuber, be a social media person, and that's what Cheeto does. He doesn't try to gain popularity off his kid. He lets his kid do his own thing. Cheeto does his own thing with Milk Toast Gaming. That's the better way of doing it. Like eventually, as your kids get older, do they really want to be doing shit with their parents all the fucking time? Probably not. They want to probably do their own thing, and she's not letting that happen either. And on top of that, regarding the religious stuff as well, you can see that repressing your kids and not maybe exposing them to other things is detrimental to them if you're just bringing them up one particular way and making them follow in one particular thing, because then they end up being so repressed that they end up doing what that guy did.
I always say, look, I my philosophy when it comes to children is, and I base this philosophy on the way I was raised, and I was raised so beautifully. No, but the way I was basically raised was find the world in your own way, and we're not going to push our own traditions and beliefs on you. You're your own person. Just don't do anything illegal. Let us know where you are. It doesn't matter where we went as long as they knew where we were. And I'm talking about, when we were teenagers and all this kind of shit. And I just found like that parental philosophy, and that comes mainly from my father. His philosophy on parenting was fucking second to none, and that's why he was so beloved by literally any human that ever encountered my dad. And his philosophy was, I don't care what you're doing as long as it's legal. And it is the good way. And he taught us about it. He gave us the lessons along the way on certain things. He was saying, look, you're getting to that age now, women are going to start playing a role in it and all this kind of shit. Don't be an arsehole. Respect their space, respect their privacy, all this kind of shit. And he was the one that was teaching us, like, look, you don't own them. Don't try to think that you can force anything onto them and all this kind of stuff. And I think that's just a good way of being. Just let kids find the way in life. Don't try to force not just your beliefs, but your personality, your philosophies on them, because your stuff is outdated. Like I see it with certain members in my family, like their way of life, they lived a sheltered life and a very outdated and archaic kind of upbringing, and you don't want to see that kind of being pushed onto their children. It's a different world. You can't compete. Each generation always has the kind of has that kind of clash, but the best way to do it is just watch from afar and help along the way. You spread for bread. Well, good for you. Just as long as it doesn't involve children, Ben, we don't mind how you get your bread, unless you're a teacher, in which case it's fine. And as long as it doesn't involve milk toast, yes. Cheetah, your
You're
thoughts?
making me blush over here. It's so much praise.
You do things the right way, so you get the praise you deserve.
Yeah, you got the parents in lockdown, bro. Your thoughts on this Ruby Frank bitch?
I honestly haven't been following it. Stuff like that, but from listening to what you guys were saying, just throw the book, not even just throw the book at her, throw like a steamroller at her and just be done.
Oh, she's fucked. Yeah, she's fucked.
Yeah, you said she had 5 kids.
Yes,
six. But I think one of them was no longer living with her. She was in her 20s and stuff, and yeah, but the rest of them was still married.
I would do
pretty much
the Jurassic Park Lost World, where I would just throw her into the area with like the babies and just let them have their to put all. I think Batman said it best in Under the Red Hood. He said, I've you know how many times I've wanted to subject this, him to all the tortures he's put people through and then just end him. That's how I feel. I want the kids to have their way with her, not in a weird way, in a torturous way. And then they get to choose what happens. It's kind of like with pedophiles and, murderers. It's like, if it's a malice murder, if it is a murder, let the family decide what they want to do with them. If they're found guilty, throw them in a pit of blood.
Nice.
I'm curious about the father as well, by the way. He can't be oblivious to this. He must have he has a role to play for sure. And I want to know more about him.
Questions definitely need to be asked of the father.
He was separated for over a year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find if it was a case of he didn't know, or if maybe he's been trying to actually draw attention to it and maybe get custody. Because, for example, the mother of the 2 kids that Daddy 05 was abusing, she knew this stuff was going on and was desperately trying to get custody of the kids. Was that the case with the father?
Yeah. Well, she got So, yeah. As long as she never sees the light of day again.
Yeah, no, don't fuck with kids. You know what I mean? Literally,
just don't fuck with vulnerable people. Just learn to be human. You hear all these kind of horror stories. Again, when I in the industry, when I worked in the care industry, you hear all these horror stories. It's like, what the fuck? What kind of a sadistic arsehole does what they do, or just exploits their children for the fucking benefits, and they just don't give a shit. Their clothes are tattered, they live in squalor, but they take their kids' money that they get from the state and they just fucking spend it on themselves. We had one parent that was just fucking taking their kids on leaving their son with us, and they were just buggering off on holiday, buying themselves new cars, doing their own thing, and all this kind of shit. And it was just ridiculous to the point where, my boss had to intervene to wrestle the money away, because there's ways you could do it where the money was going, instead of going to the parents, it was going somewhere else. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, you can do guardianship and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And you've got cases that people never hear about for years. I mean, look at Joseph Fritzl.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Got some more Rumble comments, by the way.
Yeah, go for it.
So once again from John Quarles, he also says, if it doesn't hurt anyone, do what you want. And I think he's basically quoting you, Ginger, regarding that, and that includes ourselves. And for you, Cheeto, he says, "Que paso, Cheeto? Seeing you pop in, smiley face." And also, he says there was a scene like that in Game of Thrones. The children went after the Grey Maester that used them. Yes, I remember. I do remember.
Let's
Thank
not
you,
bring
John
the stream
Quarles,
down
for
by talking
commenting.
Game of Thrones. No,
Yeah,
but-
right. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, come on. Oh, we have class here. Ugh. Yeah, lovely. Thank you for the comments over at Rumble. Okay, moving on. We are going to talk. We are going on to film and TV now. I've dropped a couple of things I want to talk about, but it doesn't matter. They're not that important. So let me see. What have I got here? Gaz. No. We're going to do WWE quickly. Gable Stevenson. I don't know if people saw the news today. Gable Stevenson was kind of like, this, like, big wrestling, amateur wrestling superstar.
Angle Mark
He's
II.
Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, him. Yeah, he's been removed from WWE completely, like the roster. So I don't know what's happening there. Like, he literally had that infamous match with Baron Corbin, who he got basically booed, and Corbin got cheered, and all this kind of shit. And he's had very kind of stop-start push since arriving at WWE, and now it seems he's just been dropped completely. I don't know if he's been released or he's going off because he said he wanted to compete in the World Championships, that he didn't, and now this, that. So it's quite interesting that a guy that was so high up on WWE's interests is
He's a Kurt Angle clone, that's why.
Yeah, but obviously there's the accusations, so I don't think WWE cares about that. That happened while he was at university, but I don't know what the reasoning for that is. Shredder?
I'm wondering if it's anything to do with the whole rape allegations.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, if it's that or if it's just anything else. Yeah, I hope it's that and that they've dropped him, because fuck that guy. Gads. Come to you.
Gabe Stevenson. I think it is that because I don't know that. I think Shredder will probably know more about this, but I think the is it Zuffa that owns UFC now? I can't remember who it is, but the
Endeavor.
Endeavor, is it?
Company.
Is it Endeavor now? Yeah, so that's going pretty quickly, and that from what I've heard, again, this is the rumor in the business that Endeavor's putting a lot of pressure on WWE to get rid of people with problematic past, basically. But that might be just a rumor.
Oh, I see. Well, if it's really the people that own UFC,
Yeah.
don't they have
Maybe
like half their roster beats their women or something like that? Or
Well, maybe they just don't want to have to deal with it on two fronts. They're like, okay, WWE, you need to clean up your act, so we only have to worry about UFC over here.
Or we've only got to worry at least about Vince McMahon on the WWE side.
yeah, exactly. Like, when you get rid of him, but you know what? I think there is a plot twist coming, because don't forget, once they take over, the McMahons only have 12% control of WWE.
I was about to say, I would not be surprised that once the takeover happens, if like they just tell the McMahons, like,
I would not be surprised at all. I know they might try to safeguard things so that doesn't happen, but I reckon they're gonna just go after Vince and get him off.
Well, it
the
didn't
thing completely.
Paul, Triple H say that he was. Didn't he say that he was looking to step down? I thought I read somewhere that he was.
He's stepping down from the board. They're demoted him from the board, and he's just going to be in the creative role instead. But the way it looks like is, I just think at the end of the day, Endeavor's just going to be completely owning WWE, and they're going to fuck it up some way or another. So God knows. Shredder?
All right, guys, I'm done. I
right.
can't keep my eyes open.
All right, Zam.
All right,
Take care.
That's-
I'll see you later.
Bye
Bye bye.
Now, again, with the whole issue with Gable Stevenson, again, I would hope it's a removal purely on the grounds of his historic sexual assault allegations.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He did apparently indicate he wanted to compete in the Amateur Wrestling World Championships, the 275 weight pound class, I think it was. But he decided to pull out. He would need permission from WWE to get it. But it's just weird that he's been completely removed from the roster page, but there's been no word if he's been released or not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's really weird. That's what I don't know if he's been released. I just said he's just been dropped from the roster. But we don't know.
It might be like a lot of soft releases because I know that WWE and AEW have been doing a lot of that recently.
It could be. I mean, yeah, it's well, time will tell. Speaking of, time will tell. CM Punk. Now, last week we were saying there's no way he'd go back to WWE, but of course we always say never. We know that he has squashed his beef with Triple H over all the incidents that happened. And so there's nothing rumored that it could be going. There is just the possibility that it could happen. And I'll tell you why that there's a big possibility. He worked for UFC. Remember, he was a commentator, and I think he competed as well. And they
Not
really
for UFC,
liked...
He wasn't a commentator.
Huh?
He wasn't a commentator for the UFC.
He had 3 fights in the UFC.
Yeah,
No, he had
two fights in the UFC, but he was a commentator for, was it Bellator or somebody else then?
God, now you're asking.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it was somebody owned by Endeavor, or I might be wrong. Okay, but Endeavor are high up on him apparently, because he's done stuff with them, etc. And so once they take over, they might say like, "Hey, we want CM Punk in, and we're going to bring him in, and you don't have a fucking say in it." And if that's the case, if they do bring him in, obviously don't bring him in until the Royal Rumble. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting because obviously his attitude won't fly in the WWE, but with new owners, who knows what's going to happen if he does come in and he starts dicking about like he did in AEW. Though, of course,
well, also WWE has more of a structure than AEW has.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have a hierarchy that knows how to do its fucking job, whereas at AEW it just seems like all the lunatics are running the asylum. And I argue with idiots on Reddit, and I don't know why I argue with idiots on Reddit, because that's just a complete waste of fucking typing, that Tony Khan is at fault for everything that happened, because as a boss he never stepped in and took control of everything. He just allowed things to escalate to the point of where we are now, and he's lost his biggest merch draw because Collision. It'll be interesting to see the numbers they do this week, because Collision last week lost a massive chunk of audience. It was like only 300,000 people watched rather than 800,000 that were normally tuned in.
Yeah, because didn't like something like 18% of people stop watching after he announced that CM Punk got fired.
After Tony Khan did his thing, the whole that screen where he come out and did that speech, that pre-recorded speech, and I talked to the live audience as well. They were only left with 300,000 viewers. So it's. I'm not saying. Yeah. Oh, I can hear my voice. Who's echoing?
I haven't a clue.
Okay. Anyway, I'm rambling on because I'm tired now. I'm just saying that, it could be a possibility. Would you not want to see Punk in the WWE? You don't care? I don't really give a shit, to be honest.
I want to see him wrestling again, but whether he will or not is a different kettle of fish.
Okay. Shredder?
I mean, I'd be interested to see what he could do with the guys that are currently there. But the thing is, the more that have come out with regard to his firing, I can understand why Tony Khan let him go. I think Tony probably should have been more upfront, because supposedly Punk went for him.
He did. Yeah.
Some monitors got knocked over. Apparently, he actually lunged at Tony Khan himself. Now, if he's put his hands on the boss, then that's grounds for an automatic dismissal. Vince McMahon might be willing to let it fly. Make do with a suspension or a fine, but again, I think in Tony Khan's case, no, it would be an automatic dismissal. There's also other things to consider. Like, for example, Punk reportedly, when the All Out incident happened last year, He reportedly wanted a buyout on his contract. So is it possible that Punk, he'd been grumbling about wanting to quit? Did he take things too far deliberately to get fired with cause, so he could just go and do whatever the hell he wanted?
Maybe it just like he thought he'd come back and he'll have Collision as his own thing, but the drama just kept spilling over, and he just maybe looked for an out.
Tony Khan should have dealt with it last year. He didn't, and things festered and built. Now, if I was him, I would fire Jack Perry and send a message to the locker room that none of this shit's going on anymore.
Yeah.
There's any more fighting in the locker room, you're getting sent home. You're gone. I can't have this in the locker room.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Jack Perry should also go. And yes, Punk, they was right to fire Punk, because at the end of the day, I mean, if we put it into context here, let's just forget what happened in the past and all this kind of stuff. You tell a kid, hey, don't put yourself through the glass, you're going to fuck yourself up. Kid has a hissy fit. And then that same kid then says just a benign comment in the Karma, real glass, cry me a river. And your reaction as the man in his 40s, the elder statesman that's supposed to set an example, is to then confront that person and choke him out and then lunge at your boss. That's how you react to something just as simple as cry me a river?
Well, no, here's the thing, right? For one, Jack Perry taking shots at Punk on the pre-show for All In. It should have been a case of Tony Khan should have gone straight up to Jack Perry. He should have said, right, I'll fucking handle this. He should have gone and spoke to Jack Perry and says, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, no, I agree. But the Punk should have also turned around to Khan and said, no, deal with this. But instead, we had the opposite, where they have no respect for the boss to the point where they just take it in their own fucking hands.
But again,
that's just
Punk's
not a
already been
measured
in a
response.
situation. Punk has already been in a situation where the boss has just not dealt with things.
No, again, I understand, but what I mean is, how do you react like that violently to a comment? You know what I mean? That's the issue. It's different if you square up and say, hey, what the hell was that? That's not on. But then they could also say,
it depends on how often and how many of his buttons have been pushed.
Yeah, but it doesn't take much to push CM Punk's button. Let's be honest. True. He anyone and everyone you talk to, he says he's just a fucking volatile person. So, with that regard, again, we all agree that it should have been dealt with last year. The message should have been clear that the people that rush into his room to kind of argue and all this kind of shit, your VPs should not have had their contract renewed. Could have easily got rid of the Bucks. Okay, Omega's just a fucking brain dead tool, so it wouldn't have mattered. But the Bucks instigate a lot of shit, and Omega's just a follower. So whatever. But losing the Bucks does not cost business anything. Nobody gives a fuck about them at all. I mean, look at how they reacted to when Punk got fired, doing a lap of honor, and then Omega drinking like a Pepsi on things. And like, these are your VPs. This is how they're acting. So you got one volatile guy that got fired, and then you got a bunch of petulant children doing this kind of shit. And it's just like, what is Khan doing about that? How was his reaction to that? He was happy to take away everyone's signs and mute the crowd that were trying to cheer for Punk and all this kind of stuff. But your VPs, you still allow them to do that kind of shit? It's just fucking, it's ridiculous. And if he doesn't rein it in, it's just more's gonna come. More's definitely gonna come. And Mark Henry alluded to that when he said that yes, that particular problem's gone and everything should be hunky-dory now, shouldn't it? In a sarcastic way. Meaning that he knows that there's other problems there that need to be dealt with. So yeah, any other comments on that?
Wrestling drama is the stupidest thing in the entire world. It's like you grown men who are doing probably one of the funniest things in life that is to do, and you can't handle any sort of like criticism like an adult. It's like, grow up. Sorry.
All right, guys. So hear me out. Punk is a triple agent. Okay, so 7 years ago, whatever it is, Vince McMahon went up to CM Punk and said, "You know what I want you to do? I want you to take 7 years off, and I want you to infiltrate this AEW or whatever the next big promotion is, and then you need to destroy them from the inside out." And then Tony Khan says, "Hey man, yeah, I just want you to go back to the WWE because we're best buds, right? So I want you to go back to the WWE and I want you to start some stuff over there so they look like they ain't got their shit together." And then so Punk is now a triple agent for Tony Khan.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Allegedly, Punk had issues with William Regal there too. Supposedly,
Yeah.
How dare he have issues with the man's man?
Well, supposedly he wouldn't shake hands with William Regal. They got into words about it, and Punk eventually told him that, I don't trust you. You're a Triple H stooge.
Which is just fucking ridiculous. Like, what does what Regal is have to do with Punk and AEW? Like, again, this is what I mean. Like, this is the kind of idiots we're dealing with in wrestling. And there can be Punk fans there. I was a big fan of his as well, but at one point, just the personality. At some point, you just think, you know what? You're just a shitty person. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
and
it boils down to the Hulk Hogan of it all. You can like Hulk Hogan as a character, but Terry Bollea is just a piece of shit human being at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He cured cancer, though. Didn't you know that?
Oh yeah.
He cured cancer.
That's what I'm saying.
He won't tell you because he's humble.
He had a album at the top of the Billboard 100 for 8 weeks.
That's right. And he fought Bret Hart at Wembley and won the Intercontinental Championship. John Quarles on Rumble says, reminds me a lot of US politics at the moment, but that's a whole other can of worms. Well, yeah, I mean,
US politics is our speciality.
That's right, baby. You stick around when we talk that.
3 Brits and a cunt talking about. Actually, I'm sorry, 2 Brits, a Scot, and a cunt talking about US politics. And keep in mind,
how do you call us Brit and him a Scot? That's ridiculous. He's British.
Yeah, he's British.
Whether he likes it or not.
But does he want to be? Does he want to be a Brit?
No.
Does he though?
Does he?
No.
Really?
Does he really? Pulls a door face. But that being said, All Out was a pretty damn good pay-per-view, if I do say so myself. And the strap match was phenomenal. And
it was decent. I mean, there were a couple of great matches on it, but otherwise, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, I actually enjoyed it more than I think. I think the strap match kind of really.
Rusev Hobbs was a great match, but the strap match is a contender for match of the year.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, and he wrestled with a fucked up arm, by the way.
Yeah,
because he says he didn't punch with his right arm. He didn't do a lot of stuff with his right arm. And he goes, people barely notice. I didn't fucking pay much attention at the time.
But then again, it's like 4 a.m. He gave full credit to Ricky Starks. Said Ricky Starks carried me through that match.
Yeah,
he said
I did read that Danielson was giving a lot of praise to Ricky Stark. Ricky Stark. He said, like Shred said, he basically carried him through that match, and he would trust. I think he said he would even trust him with his life in the ring.
But that's a testament. That's why people love Ricky Starks. Like we said it in NWA. Remember when we saw him in NWA? Yeah. We thought this guy is the shit. He is fucking amazing, and it's just great seeing him. Like he will be a world champion in AEW, 100%. And I don't think he should ever go to WWE because he'll just get lost in the shuffle there. I think he is gonna be. He has the potential to be like the second biggest star in AEW. He's got the mouth. He's got the look. He can wrestle. Thankfully he recovered because he broke his fucking neck as well, and he's come back strong from that. And when you get praise from someone like Danielson, then that's it. You're a made man. You're a made man. That is the CM Punk of like this generation of wrestlers, without the shit attitude and childishness. And it's a great match. If you haven't seen it, go watch the strap match.
By the way, earlier I was not comparing CM Punk, Phil Brooks to That's his name, Phil Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
To Hulk Hogan on a like a 1-to-1 comparison. I know Terry Bollea is like a fucking worse human being than a lot of people, but I'm just saying, like,
I know what you mean. Yeah. I get what you mean. I mean,
I don't want CM
Terribly,
Punk
who
stand to be like,
smells
how can you
death on
compare him to
kids.
Hogan?
yeah, he smells dead.
Well, I mean, I'm a huge CM Punk fan, but
Yeah, we
sometimes
know.
but he needs to get an attitude adjustment.
Yeah, it definitely needs an F5 and an attitude adjustment.
Speaking of guys needing an attitude adjustment, Devin Nicholson's being sued.
Yes,
Slow
Captain
Devon.
Slow Devon, Mr. Stabby. Is he finally being sued by the referee?
Yeah, the referee who he stabbed in the head multiple times is suing him for $250,000.
Good, and I hope he fucking gets every penny of it.
The guy still has scars on his head, which are never going to go away. He racked up a lot of medical bills, and also he's apparently having issues with his memory.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, it should.
But
How that guy did not go to jail is beyond me.
So next debate of Mania, Ginger, you are not allowed to have any forks nearby. All right.
Oh, that's ridiculous, man. Come on, I'm responsible. I'll only use it to eat cake. I'm not stabbing anyone when it's a waste of a good fork.
I'm wondering if Kevin Sullivan at any point is going to get roped into this, given that he's the one that was with Hannibal that night. He's the one who gave Hannibal the spike that he used to, stab this guy with.
I don't know. I doubt it, to be honest. I think if anything, he would have been roped into it, unless he gets desperate and then tries to go after Sullivan as well.
I mean, I didn't bring up the fact that not long ago, Slow Devon did actually attempt suicide. Now, I don't know if it's in relation to the lawsuit or other issues he's been having. I mean, last year, the police were called out because he had a domestic violence issue with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I think there's something clearly fucking wrong with him. As far as I'm aware, that when he had the domestic violence arrest, he was released into the custody of his parents. Now, Devon's fucking in his 40s, and he had to get released into the custody of his parents.
Yeah, so there's clearly something completely wrong.
Yeah.
But you can kind of tell the way he was speaking as well, even in the interview, Dark Side of the Ring. It was just, completely not there. He's a fuckhead anyway. He's a complete fuckhead. He always has been a fuckhead. Obviously, it's not nice what happened to him about getting the hep and all that. You don't want to see that kind of thing, but
And there's still some question whether he did get it from Abdullah, because he was bleeding all over the place in Puerto Rico. And questions were obviously asked. I mean, how the fuck did nobody else that Abdullah worked with get it?
Yeah, but wasn't there dry blood of Abdullah's blood on the blade?
I don't know. I mean, I think it is most likely that Abdullah did give him the Hep C.
Yeah,
but obviously there have been questions about, did he really do it, or was it a case of he's got it from somebody else, and Abdullah just happens to have Hep C as well.
Well, we'll never know. Yeah, we'll never know. Okay, so moving on. Just gonna quickly go over. Don't know if anyone else has watched it. The One Piece that came out.
I'm watching it at the moment, so don't spoil it for me.
No, don't worry. I won't. I won't spoil anything.
Spoil it. Tell me everything. I want to know everything about it.
Well, Darth Vader is Luke's father.
What the?
There you go.
Here's another spoiler. Voldemort kills Snape.
Bloody hell. Jesus Christ. Just don't tell me their pronouns. I don't want to know their pronouns.
That's Caesar.
Oh my God. That's it. Stream over. No, I just want to say, like people are saying it's a really good adaptation and it's great and all this kind of shit. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't like it. It has moments. Has its moments.
So it must be good because Ginger hates it. So
if I hate it, people like it because I'm the weirdo that liked the cowboy. I liked Cowboy Bebop. Now I understand people's anger against Cowboy Bebop adaptation because it is somewhat different to the the original cartoon series. But I found that it was a good enough adaptation to be very enjoyable on its own merits. Maybe not call it Cowboy Bebop. But I really enjoyed it, and I was gutted that it didn't get a second season. But One Piece, I thought it just rushed. They just rushed it. they rush through a lot of things. And if you know the series, you know, I know parts of the series. I mean, there's over 1,000 episodes to watch. I've not watched 1,000. I've probably watched like maybe 60 to 80, and I'm talking quite a few years ago. But there were certain things that even happened back then that I was just like, well, that's quite a big thing, and it just doesn't even exist here. And so, yeah, I personally just didn't like it, and I don't understand that the amount of hype that it's getting. They left
You know,
out
this
Ed.
is the
Yeah,
human
exactly. No, exactly, John. You know, they've left things out. They glossed over certain rivalries between. Well, I mean, Gary's not on stream if you can't hear me. Gary, close your ears if you can't hear me. But I'm pretty sure the two sisters, I forget their names, but they were fucking trying to. One of them was trying to kill the other for quite a good chunk of the show. But it just doesn't happen in this.
Well, this
You
is
know.
the kind of human being that doesn't like Thor Ragnarok. What kind of human being does not like Thor Ragnarok?
You.
Probably the
Oh
same
wait,
kind
no,
of
no.
human
Wait.
being- I was going to say probably the same kind of human being who doesn't like gravy.
No,
Oh,
I
God,
like
this-
no, I like Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, well, and you don't like gravy, so that tells me everything you need. I need to know about you. I'm joking, but yeah. Anyway, One Piece didn't enjoy it. I hope it picks up right from series 2 onwards, so they kind of just got all that crap out of the way and we could move on. There were some good characters in it, like all the villains are fucking brilliant. The main cast, the main pirates, I didn't like them, but the villains are great. So I'll definitely go back to watch it when it returns. But yeah, and that being said, we have the penultimate episode of Harley Quinn next week. It's been okay. Season 4, it's been all right.
From what I've seen so far, it's been really good. But I'm now 2 weeks behind. I will watch them tonight. I finally have some time this weekend without the kids that I can finally sit down and watch. You know, Harley Quinn.
Okay, the last 2 episodes have been really good, so they're definitely worth watching. Again, I'm not spoiling anything. It's definitely better than season 3. My God, that I lost the will to live watching that. It was so bad.
Season 3 was so bad. Like,
oh my God,
Poison Ivy and Harley like together just made me want to gouge my eyes out.
Yeah, just erase that season from your memory. Just think of it as like, you know, season 6 of Friends, which was god awful. Just think of it like that. And onto Ahsoka. I know we covered it. We did a review of Ahsoka. Shredder, I don't know if you've been watching it at all.
I haven't, no.
Okay. Gaz, you've joined us on our reviews, isn't it? Yeah, of course, because you hate to being as annoying as I do.
Yeah, this was your first week joining us.
Yeah. Right? It was my first week joining you lot, and that's again I caught up with it because I've got Disney Plus on dirt cheap, so I thought, well, fuck it, I'll just catch up with it.
He heard how good it was, and he couldn't wait. He couldn't wait to watch it.
Well, it's not bad. I mean, if you compare it to like fucking like your Kenobis and your Boba Fett's and your Mandalorian, this is fine. You know, it's not setting the world ablaze, but at least I haven't lost the will to live. Watching it, you know. So yeah, I just thought, you know, if there was a different panel here, would have asked their opinion. Shredder, you haven't watched it yet, but yeah, it's all right. We can move on to that. Just quickly, I got one thing on gaming, Skull and Bones.
I do have one thing on television, but
go back.
I had one thing on film I wanted to talk to you about, but if you want,
yes. I'll finish the show off with that question you had to
everybody.
To yes, go on.
It is Star Trek Day. Live long and fuck off or whatever.
Anyway, Shredder. So you were saying. Yeah.
I just want to say that Star Trek Day has come and gone like a fart in the wind. Like they released this 22-minute like special on Paramount Plus, which wasn't bad, but doesn't like it's just the greatest hits of Star fucking Trek.
Is it the 60th anniversary or something?
No, it's the 50th anniversary of animated Star Trek.
And that's why it's Star Trek Day.
No, it's Star Trek Day for every year on September 8th is Star Trek Day.
So it's like a May the 4th kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a May the 4th thing.
Oh, right.
I was hoping for like announcements and stuff today, like Discovery season 4 or 5, something.
Discovery's
no.
finished though.
Well, no, it'll be finished. No, it's got one more season left.
Oh, okay.
After
I thought it
this
was done.
next coming season, it'll be over.
Oh, I see. Well, what more do they need to announce? More fucking Star Trek? How much more Star Trek do you need?
Well, they've got the Deborah
All Star
Cho.
Trek.
They've got not Deborah Cho. I'm sorry. Michelle Yeoh's Section 31 movie that's going to be coming out. But it's going to be a special feature on Paramount Plus. So it's going to be a movie.
Riveting.
Yeah. Shut up.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Can't fucking wait.
And then Starfleet Academy, which I'm kind of excited about, but not because it's taking place in the Discovery future. And I'm like, damn it, I wanted it to be in the Picard timeline, like back when all other Trek is going on.
Oh, okay.
Hang on.
Sure.
There is an announcement for Star Trek coming next year. It's an animated adventure. It's the animated adventures of Captain Archer's Beagle.
No, are you serious?
No.
I was about to say, I'm like, that's some bullshit. I do have the Porthos T-shirt though. I do have a T-shirt that has Porthos on it. So anyway, that's really. I mean, I'm very unimpressed by what. And it was nice getting Jerry O'Connell in there to do the thing, and they did some stuff, but it's like, God, they did fuck all. Like 1 year they had like a whole live event before COVID.
Jerry O'Connell, wasn't he Babylon 5 guy?
Am I thinking the right name? The guy who's on The View. What's the dude's name?
I don't know.
He plays Ransom.
Oh, he was in Sliders.
I think so. Yes, I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Sliders, but
Sorry,
I think
No,
that
you're
is him.
right. I think that was his name. Yeah.
He plays the voice of Commander Ransom on
Oh, I
Lower
see.
Decks.
Just quickly here on Rumble. Hey, Star Trek Voyager was the best series ever. What better way to explore unknown than being lost in the Delta Quadrant?
You know what? Ban him. Ban him.
I'll ban him. I'll ban him. I'll set him till the negative zone. That's a Star Trek thing.
Voyager had such potential, but they just blew it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I wasn't a fan of Next Generation, but I love Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah, DS9.
Yeah, and I went on to Voyager as a result because I thought, oh hey, just getting enjoyed. But then Voyager sucked. And for me, I don't want to say like for anyone else that likes it, that's fine, But I was more the space station guy, so I had Deep Space Nine, I had Babylon 5, and that's my lot. John, by the way, every Thursday, if you subscribe to our NerdTube channel on, I don't know if we might go live on Rumble as well, but if you subscribe to our channel on YouTube, same thing, NerdTube. Every Thursday they talk Trek, so you could join in the conversation in the comments there. And if you're a Star Trek fan, keeping within the realm of Nerdverse, actually, I do want to say that as well. I will be, because Doctor Who is coming back. I'm going to be getting a panel of Whovians. Shredder, I don't know if you're a Doctor Who fan at all.
I've not watched it in quite a few years.
Oh, that's fine. But I know I've got Mage, I've got Gaz, and I've got my friend Simon coming in, and possibly one of Cheeto's friends may join the panel here and there as well. Because I want to get eyes on it, because again, I think it's a niche that people would want to join in on. So again, just keeping that nice kind of sci-fi thing going. So yeah, look out for that in November when it does come, because we'll be definitely delving into the world of Who. Yeah, so onto gaming, and then one last thing. So I just want to talk about this because Ubisoft. I mean, who doesn't like talking about Ubisoft and how fucking
what piece of shit?
Yeah, what an amazing company they are. So well run and brimming full of creativity. Anyway, so the Skull and Bones, one of the easiest games they could have ever made. The layup was there. It was simple. A bloody Activision could have followed the footsteps to making this game. That's how simple it was. But this game, Skull and Bones, has been in production since 20 fucking Black Flag. Whenever Black Flag came out.
Oh my God, that's like 2000.
10 years.
15?
Yeah, 14, 15, around there. And Skull and Bones is now the third creative director has quit on it. So they're going to be on their fourth creative director. And what that means basically is that we've had 3 people so far who don't know how to steer this game into what direction. and it's been an absolute mess. And the only reason they're still pushing to release this game,
2013. Holy shit.
yeah, 10 years ago, yeah. And the only reason they're still pushing to release this game is because they have a deal with the Singapore government, so they have to do it, otherwise they'll get sued to fuck. But the fact is, that's not the point. The point is, like, I know this sounds horrible, but I will clap if Ubisoft ever went under, because if any company deserves to go under, when you have so many amazing properties and you don't know what to do with them because you're obsessed with mobile gaming and you're obsessed with gratuitous monetization and live services that you can't create a good game anymore, you deserve to go under. Like Skull and Bones was the easiest fucking layup. You take what made Assassin's Creed Black Flag great, was all the pirate shit. You translate that into a pirate game with the same mechanics as Assassin's Creed. So instead of assassins, you just have pirates. And you do a pirate game. You can raid other ships. You can raid land. You can build your pirate empire and all this kind of shit. It was fucking easy. A child could have done it. And yet, they didn't know what to do with this game. First, it was just going to be a PvE thing. Then it was just going to be ships only, combat, PvP. And now it's like a pirate sim. And then it's changing. Like, they've constantly changed it. But the core thing that remained within that game is it had to be live services, meaning they had to milk it for everything. And I just, like, pirate games are very fucking easy. And Ubisoft already had the blueprint there and they fucked it up. And this is why I bring this up, because I just want to say I'll be cheering when that company goes under or somebody else buys them. I don't normally like takeovers, but somebody needs to buy them and just fucking wrestle their stuff away from them, or break the company up, or just get Yves Guillemot the fuck away from there, because they're ruining some of the most beloved franchises out there. I'm still waiting for Splinter Cell. It's been what?
Me
10
too.
years?
I was actually going to bring that up and be like,
Yeah.
Last time we had a Splinter Cell was 10 years ago. It's like, where's our new one? Where's our like PS5 one?
Yeah, and the only reason we don't have a Splinter Cell is not because it doesn't sell well; it sells very well, but because they struggle to make that into a live service. They don't know how to make that into a live service. Well, don't fucking make it into a live service.
Wait.
Cheeto.
Ubisoft? Yeah. Oh, they want me to do Skull and Bones. I got it. I'm in.
Woo! Excellent. Put some titties in there as well.
Oh yeah, it's a pirate game, man. We gotta have some titties with
absolutely. Got to
with
plunder
real
some
physics.
booty.
Actually,
whatever you do not put in fucking pronouns.
That's the first thing I added. What are you talking about?
I actually genuinely wanted to ask your opinion about something. Star Trek Resurgence. Would you say yes to buy it or no to buy it?
Yes, because it's not like a full price game. There are some glitches to it, but it is a fantastic Star Trek story. It is a good Telltale style format, and you just feel like, it's a good experience. So if it was like a full price $60, $70 game, I'd say no, just because it does have some issues. It's not graphically, it does not look worth it, but like it was like $30 when I bought it.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
No,
fair enough if it's that cheap.
Yeah,
and they're releasing it that cheap.
And if you're not a super big Trekkie, I mean, I'm sure it'll be $20 eventually. But no, if you are a hardcore Trek fan, it's absolutely worth it. Like, it is 100%. It feels like a Trek game. I've always said that Telltale would be a great format for Star Trek. It just makes sense. You get you can do negotiations, you can do a little bit of action here, but it doesn't have to be like, like action RPG. It can still be like the whole point and shoot,
Well, I was going to say, because that's one thing that you should do for your Milk Toast game is to do the Avenging games for of Star Trek.
I already did play. I played Resurgence on my channel. It's already
no. But the other ones, so like the original, the Anniversary, the Flaming Fall of Union, or whatever it was, that flaming game that they released.
Well, that face says he will.
You mean 25th Anniversary and Judgment Day, and Birth of the Federation and Away Team. Hold, please. Go ahead, Ginger. Keep going.
Just quickly here, John over at Rumble. It says that's why I stuck with Form from Software and Armor Core 6. Amazing game so far. Again, like I'm not a fan of like the Elden Ring style games and all of that, but I fucking love that company. I love From Software because I love any company that gives you a shitload of everything in a game and doesn't ask for more. Like that to me is just 50 thumbs up. And I don't know, like again, Baldur's Gate 3, not my style of game. 100% love it because it. Who joined? Oh, it's that screen there. Is that what you want, or should I hide that?
No. Go ahead and show it.
Yeah.
So, you mean like these games right here, Gary, that are on my playlist, like Away Team, Resurgence, Birth of the Federation, Starfleet Academy, Judgment Day, 25th Anniversary, and Star Trek Online?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that are already on my channel and complete.
There you go. Okay. But yeah, just saying like companies that, pump a load of crap in the game and they don't expect you to pay for extra DLCs and all that always get a thumbs up from me, even if I'm not a fan of the genre. But with Ubisoft, they can't do it. It's impossible. They're just useless. And it's a shame because even the 2-player on Splinter Cell was fantastic. Like me and my friends would play for ages. It wasn't massive, but it was fucking great. And yet they just don't want to make it because they can't monetize it in the way they could Assassin's Creed or Division or, Ghost Recon and all this kind of stuff. So fuck them. Let them burn in hell. Okay. And to finish... God, Cheetah.
I was just gonna say, just like my exes say. I mean, it isn't massive, but it's fun. I mean,
we're talking about your dog here, or we're talking about something else.
We're talking about.
Say it. Say it.
My penis.
There we go. That's right. No double entendres here. I won't be having it. All right, Gaz, your question.
All right. Right, so I got a new job this week, so I was at the bus stop, and I noticed that there was a advert for a film that I did not know was coming out. As the third film in a trilogy, and because we have a Greek man here, I want to talk about this film trilogy. So what do you think of My Big Fat Greek Wedding? The film trilogy.
Look, so the third one looked really bad. The second one, I enjoyed it for what it was. The first one is fantastic film. It still stands the test of time. But look, I'm happy to see it. It's a Greek trilogy. They're in Greece now, so they're doing the right thing. That's where you take these things. You go to the motherland and all of that. But I've got nothing against the film. So, even as bad as 3 looks in the trailer, I'm still going to watch it. And I'm still going to... there's trailers of it and all that. I'm still going to watch it and I'm still going to have some fun out of it, even if it's just listening to them speak bad Greek or whatever. I'm going to get something out of it. And it's a trilogy that I'll happily own on DVD because obviously parents are old school, mom's old school, so she'd want to watch that on DVD. But I might take her to the cinema to watch it because we watched the second one together. So I'll probably take her to watch the third one. But yeah, it's great. And like I said, it's like Indiana Jones, like with the fifth one, Dial of Destiny. When spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, by the way. But they go back in time and they meet Archimedes and all this kind of shit. And the Greek they're trying to talk in it is just Harrison Ford. Just fucking no. Just whatever he was trying to say, it was just trying to listen to Glaswegian speak after 50 whiskeys. It was just gibberish. And the Greek they were speaking there was not ancient Greek; it was modern Greek and all this. So I get a kick out of it, and I'm sure with My Big Fat Greek Wedding, I'll get a kick out of whatever the hell they try to talk there. So yeah, bring it on. And on that bombshell, unless anyone else has anything they want to talk about, we can end this stream there.
Spend 3 hours on Gary's gravy hatred, or
only if we could talk about Cheeto's hatred of tacos as well.
What?
I
don't like taco trucks. I don't.
It's the same thing to me. No. They're all the same. They look alike.
I don't like gyro trucks either.
Oh my god, you are gonna. But you know what? The gyros that you guys have in America, they're more akin to Turkish kebabs than they are to the actual Greek thing. So if you don't like gyros, that's fine. It's not a real article. It's just, I don't know what the fuck those things are. I tried them when I was in New York in 3 different places, and I was like, no, this is abysmal. But anyway, on that bombshell, we are ending the stream. We want to thank everyone joining us over at Rumble, over here on NerdTube. Slightly longer stream than normal, but only by about 5 minutes. Thank you to my co-hosts that joined me and join us. We have more stuff coming out. Just keep an eye, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest channel you probably may have never heard of, that sometimes we may or may not get naked and racist and hate gravy, pronouns, and tacos. And on that,